So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, and it is the Demetra K Show where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. Also, like to say a big giant thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything he does behind the scenes on Facebook to make the show go further. Also, like to say hello to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, but you are participants, because we do read your questions, comments, and concerns, because we feel like you should be heard instead of just listening to Donovan and I. So I hope that helps. So today, for the 2 hours that we are here, we are going to be discussing that of Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and the predicament that he finds himself in. And we're going to discuss a whole bunch of other things. So if y'all saw something that needs to be discussed, throw it into the comment section, and we will love to do that. We're probably not going to spend too much time on this whole Jerry Jones thing, but we're going to talk about it nevertheless, right? Because it is Donovan's favorite team, right? As they say, America's team in more than one way now, right? So Donovan, what say you before we get started?
Right. Before we get started, let's just say welcome back, everybody. You guys also are the co-hosts on the show. We like your opinions. We just want to hear ourselves talk. We can hear ourselves talk personally on the phone and do all that other great stuff. But do us a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, share this on your platform, because there are going to be people on your platform, uncles, aunts, cousins, whatever. They're going to see what you're looking at and maybe listen to a little bit, and maybe they will also get enlightened and have an idea of exactly what's going on. So do that for us, and do not forget, if you guys so do desire, Christmas is coming up. New Year's is coming up. We have a Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and all the other great stuff that we have if you sort of help get the show running and doing all that. So before we start, how about those Cowboys? Thanksgiving, it's been 4 or 5 seasons. The Cowboys just won't win on Thanksgiving, and they finally did it. So how about those Cowboys? And I got a little thing in regards to Jerry Jones and why they bring this up right now. Do you see what the terrorists do? Do you see what they do when America's team starts winning? And then they bring up all this old stuff just to bring them down and have people turn against America's team because they're jealous of our lifestyle and the way we live and how we do things. Isn't that what they said 9/11? People attack us because they're jealous of the way the Americans live. Isn't that what they said? So it's the same thing with the Dallas Cowboys, right? They just hate to see winners. They hate to see us on top. So you're going to bring this good white man, Jerry Jones, who presented you 3 Super Bowls in the 90s.
So I muted Donovan's mic because he was tripping on that mean stuff. Whatever stuff he was tripping on, I was like, yeah, So anyway, I'm just playing. Donovan, were you done with your
No, I wasn't done, but I'm glad that you were able to figure that out and stuff like that. Yeah, there's some interesting things in regards to the Jerry Jones situation, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it, right? And I really want to see in the comments, you guys' comments in regards to the picture of Jerry Jones back in the day. And I'm going to talk to a lot of you guys in the comment while Demetra speaks. Also, today is a very, very sad day. The great triple threat actress, one of the very first to be a triple threat, Irene Cara, passed away today at 63. So condolences to her family, her fans, and her friends.
Yes, indeed. So actually, it wasn't today. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Yesterday that she passed away, as like you said, 63 years old. Irene Cara, as like you said, a triple threat, one of the greatest to ever do it. Triple threat means that you can sing, act, and dance. Most notably, she was on the series and the movie, I guess, Fame, where Debbie Allen, was on there as well. She also infamously, I guess, if you will, sang the song to Flash Dance and all of that. So I remember.
And won an Oscar for it too.
Yeah, growing up listening to Irene Cara. One of my favorite songs is from that of Fame, Hot Lunch Jam. When they were in the cafeteria and all that. I did a dance routine to that when I was in modern dancing, and it was a long story. Anyway, So anyway, yes, RIP to her. So let me get to the comment section before we get into why we are here today. Moni, how you doing? Says much Detroit love to you, Demetra and gorgeous Donovan. Ow. You also say when you have so many that are standard raccoons like Stephen Smith on a t-shirt that says he loves Jerry Jones, and here is a man, Jerry Jones, that lies and says, oh, I was a kid, BS. Don't fall for lies of white supremacy. Yes, indeed. And then Michael's asking you a question, Donovan. And how you doing, by the way, Michael? And let's see here. Let me just go on and skip down a little bit so I can get caught up. And Robin, how you doing? Tracy, what's going on with you? Thank you so much. Aha! I was waiting to see who was going to notice that I did something different with my hair. And Tracy, you noticed. Tell y'all about that a little bit later. And Michael, you say, oh, Demetra, you lost a lot of weight, Republican black woman. Well, I don't know about either one of those, losing a lot of weight or being a Republican black woman. That's for sure. But thank you. Willie, how you doing? He said, no, he's not invited to the cookout. Brother Reggie, what's going on with you? Jamarcus, how you doing? Darren, what's going on? He says, Jerry Jones is the devil. Damn. And True Monger, I think that's what it is. How you doing? He says, laugh out loud. Sooty Band, how you doing? Brother Reggie says, nice. I have more reason to hate them damn Cowboys. Monet, what's going on? And True, you says he never was invited. Already knew about Jim Crow Jerry. Damn. They also say F the NFL too. Yes, y'all. I had to mute my Donovan. He was on one. He was tripping. So anyway, Dusty Hotep, how you doing? You says if you can recover from being a Democrat, you can recover from being a Cowboys fan. One would hope, right? Y'all welcome. You're very welcome for me muting him. I had to do what I had to do. So let's see who else came on here. Jamarcus says Stephen A. Smith is taking up for him along with, I think he meant other black people. Why? I have no idea why, because he can care less about black people unless you making money from him. Very true. Tawana, how you doing? And LS, how you doing? It says Roger Goodell Castro. Damn. Put that picture out because Jerry voted against his raise. Oh, so y'all think it's an inside job? Is that where we going with this? Anita, how you doing? He says, greetings, Demetra, Donovan in chat. Wasn't she Irene in Sparkle too? Yes, she was in Sparkle. And
yes, the original Sparkle.
Another movie called Sister, which was very interesting. So yes, she was.
Diane Carroll was also in Sister. She's
been around for a very long time. Well, I'll make her sound old, but and they don't know why she or how she died. So it sounds like it was a shock because her publicist actually put it out. So they didn't know what happened to her.
And one of her last movies that she appeared in was starring Mr. T. Anybody remember that movie?
DC Cab?
DC Cab, yeah.
Got you. And Monet says, I hate seeing those type of pictures, that type of climate. The men in the front are clearly a-holes with a smart mouth. The rest are following the crowd, but have no excuse because they are there. I think you're talking about the one I'm about to show you. Jay Bubba, how you doing? Says Percy Earl saw you working out, Demetra. He said, you thinking fine. Oh, you know what though? I gotta do what I gotta do, y'all. I gotta get trimmed down a little bit. And UFO Kamazi, how you doing? And Tatum, what's going on with you? Says when people say old money is same, sentence old slaves stealing from black people money. Hashtag Jerry Jones. Damn. All right, so let me put this picture up for y'all. So this is what has come into the light all of a sudden. I guess all of a sudden, but some people are saying, well, this picture is not new. I guess some people have seen it before. So the guy with the red circle around his head is a 14-year-old Jerry Jones. He was in Arkansas at Central High School. I think that was the name of it in Arkansas when Eisenhower was trying to desegregate the country, I guess, starting with that of the schools. And there were 6 students. So this took place the same month that they called the Little Rock 9 was there. 6 students here in this picture. You can't see all of them. Yes, they were trying to go into the school. And these white students, I guess, including that of Jerry Jones, were there, giving the black students the business, stopping them, taunting them, as you can see, not wanting them to go into the school. And then it is also said that, I guess, a couple of minutes after this photo happened, those same students were pushed down a stairwell, if you will, by these said students. Now, a couple of days ago, this photo comes out and everybody's losing their minds and stuff like, oh my God, Jerry Jones, he's a racist, which, you know, that's not the first time he's been accused of that, from what I can understand. So Jerry Jones says that it is him. He was there. He said he was out of curiosity, looking on to see, and and it kind of appears that way. I don't know. He was looking on to see what was going on. Doesn't sound like he made an apology for it. I don't know. Maybe he did or didn't. I don't know what difference does it make at this point. But he's saying that's not why he was there. He was there to kind of see what the commotion was about. Which, if you ask me, it strikes me as kind of odd. I don't know. I'm just thinking because the Little Rock 9 incident happened that same month. And so it's like, well, you kind of know what's going on there. But I don't know. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt, whatever. So anyway, there's a lot of people everywhere, including that somebody said Stephen A. Smith, who was like, oh, hell to the no. And I'm going to put it up. Where he said this. Now, I didn't play all of it, but you guys can get the gist of what Stephen A. Smith is going to say. So I'll put it up here. Here we go.
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones, and I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. Our report said he was 14 years old. Yeah. Another report said he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. You're going to bring up a picture of Jerry Jones standing at this protest. No question, what was happening is not something that anybody as a black person should be appreciative about. We had 6 students at that particular North Little Rock High School that was trying to desegregate the school.
No one should be okay with it.
Nobody should be okay with that.
Regardless of
race.
We
understand that. We get all of that. We also understand what we as black people and as black folks, black men have to deal with. And by the way, to some degree, we still deal with a lot of things, and we all know it. Mm-hmm. Racism is alive and well. Bigotry and prejudice is alive and well. We get all of that. But you're going to bring up a photo of him when he was 14, 15 years old, 65 or 66 years ago.
So as I said, I didn't play it all, but he just kind of was repeating the same thing. But at the end, he basically asked, what were you doing when you were 15 or 14 or 15? Basically saying that it was 65, 66 years ago. That's a long time. He doesn't deserve it. I don't know where he's going. Maybe he deserves redemption. Maybe that's not who he really is. That's kind of stuff he was saying. And so as I see in the comment section, a lot of people are saying that Stephen A. Smith is, sand dancing, for a lack of better words, for the man, which, is not unusual for Stephen A. Smith to do. And there's a lot of other people saying, I don't think that Jerry Jones is racist, and that's not who he is. He's done so much for black players and, the NFL and this, that, and the other. And so there's a lot of people who are defending him. But then the other question that I have is, and I'm not even going to play devil's advocate. I'm just throwing these ideas out there. A lot of the people that are mad at Jerry Jones, and I'm not saying you should, I think it's problematic that he was there, because I'm one of those people that tend to think, well, if he was a racist, he probably still is. Every racist, they don't always say, hey, they don't take their hood off and say, how you doing? I'm a racist. A lot of people are, covert in their racism. And so I don't know Jerry Jones, but I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like Jerry Jones and don't like him for what he is out about him now. That voted for Joe Biden. Joe Biden was hanging out. And I'm not trying to make this about Joe Biden, because I don't think it's Joe Biden's butt whooping the take in the media per se, but I'm just saying there's this outrage about Jerry Jones, but it's like it's coming from a lot of people I know for a fact voted for Joe Biden, because they were talking about voting for Joe Biden. And so it's like, now you're mad with Jerry Jones, but yet Joe Biden was doing the same thing. So it's like, why does Joe Biden get a pass? Joe Biden is unapologetic about being buddies with Southern segregationists, which is why he is called the Dixiecrat. Strom Thurmond, James O. Eastland, and all those other cats were big time unapologetic racists in that they did not want black and white people mixing. And Joe Biden had those theories. Maybe he didn't outright say it, but he said some things that make you say, So what would be the difference? And the other thing is the question I asked is Jerry Jones still invited to the cookout? Well, do we have the power to even invite him or disinvite him to a cookout? Let's keep it real. We as Black people, we got the attention span of a fly. How are we going to hold Jerry Jones accountable? We can't even hold anybody else accountable for the smaller things that are done. And if we really wanted to hold Jerry Jones accountable, we could have held him accountable a long time ago, along with all the other NFL owners when it came to Kaepernick, because I'm sure that Jerry Jones could have picked up Kaepernick somewhere down the line, and he did not do that. If you want to hold him accountable, stop watching the games. Stop buying his merchandise. Just stop. But to get out here and have all this outrage about it is like, listen, I'm not making excuses for Jerry Jones. I personally am not a Cowboys fan of any of that stuff or any matter. But the point that I'm making is, like, let's not just get mad. Let's do something, right? We can abstain if we really want to. Y'all heard Donovan go on and on and on and on and on and on and on until I silence his mic about how he just loves the Cowboys. So, I mean, if we really want to send Jerry Jones a message, let's shut up and do something, right? Put your money where your mouth is. But the other thing is, we need to address people who voted for that of Joe Biden and everybody else, gave him a pass. But yet Jerry Jones is like, oh, how horrible, like what's really going on, right? So Donovan, what say you? And I'm gonna get to these comments.
You basically took my whole talking point. It's the selective outrage that goes against within the Black community. All of these so-called Biden, oh, he changed, he's evolved, he's done all that. The minute he was elected, you niggers need to get in line behind these Hispanics. Let's put it like this. Demetra and I come from the same generation, right? We like the same music. We like 80s. We like a little bit of the 60s, our parents' music. We like the 80s, especially the 90s, R&B and stuff, right? We come from an era where we have a lot of similarity. How the hell do you think a man who was in that picture at 14 years old, so he's probably a freshman in high school, usually if you're 14, you've already been shaped and you're in Arkansas, your fundamentals and your belief system has been shaped fundamentally. Now let's look at that 14-year-old today. Look at his management structure within the Dallas Cowboy organizations. How many Black head coaches has Jerry Jones hired? How many Black coaches does Jerry Jones have within that organization? Now, as a lifelong Cowboy fan, I know what's going on with this dude. You know, and you know what? I'm not mad at him because he is who he is. Biden is who he is. But why are you guys surprised that anybody that comes from that era would not be racist? When you want to see if somebody had an epiphany on their racism, you look at their actions, not their words. What are they doing in the community? What did they do to change? If Joe Biden wasn't such a racist and he's changed so much, how come the 1994 crime bill hasn't been repealed? How come that hasn't been done? How come he hasn't come out and said, I made a mistake with this. It really just dogged a lot of Black people out. I'm sorry, I am wrong. He didn't do that. And he's not going to do that because he comes from that era. And I'm not saying everybody that comes from that era is a bad person. I don't believe Jerry Jones is a bad person. Do I believe he's a racist? Absolutely, because I look at his actions. But here we are, Joe Biden gets it. Oh, he's changed. Within the first 4 months of his presidency, everybody that wanted something got something, except the very people that put him in the office. But you guys talk about give him more time, give him a pass, do all this. It's the selective outrage that bothers me. So as I sit here as a recovering Democrat, even though you guys can't see my handle right now, as a recovering Democrat, a lot of you guys need to go in the recovery period. Because if you're going to be outraged by one thing, you should be outraged by it all. So let's get into the comments.
Absolutely. And so, Miss Kathy, you say, in sports arena and stadium have less than 1% Black, even though 70 are players and coaches. Those cheer, I think you meant us with the game, are quick to call us the N-word. In real world, don't forget slave masters did a lot for the house N-words too.
Good. And let me talk on that real quick. Tatum, Ms. Tatum, you brought up a very, very good point. In SoFi Stadium here in Los Angeles. This is a $4.5 billion stadium. They say it's almost $6 billion. Black people were gentrified out of the area, whatever, and they brought in part-time jobs with no benefits, just part-time seasonal jobs, right? When events are there, right? It is said that the very people who live around that stadium, which is a Black neighborhood, can't even afford to buy tickets to go see a game. So you brought out a great point. I'm glad you were paying attention.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Reggie. So let me get off into y'all comments. And Rashad, how you doing? He says, Jerry Jones has been a suspect racist since he had Jimmy Jones as a coach. So wasn't he suspected of being racist as well? So, I mean, come on. I think it's safe to say
Jimmy Jones and him were friends in school. They went to football together. They played football together and stuff in high school. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes, like, and then I can't remember who it was. Somebody brought up the fact that Stephen A. Smith is always on Kyrie's bumper. So it's like you're sitting up here, you know, doing a Stephen from Django. Oh, massa, I'm just downright pissed off about it.
Like, in the big house? Huh? Oh, I'm going to burn some sheets, but you can come on in.
Right. So it's like, what in the world? I saw that. I was like, is he serious? I mean, I've seen a lot of soft showing from Stephen A. Smith, but it's like, come on, I think this is top tier at this point, right? And LS, you say, Mr. You ain't black, F Joe Biden. Yeah, that's what he told us, right? You ain't black if you don't vote for me. And Bape Rax, how you doing? It says it's up to the player bottom line. Yeah, so that's another thing too. They could boycott, but you know, they ain't gonna do that. They not. Thunder, how are you?
That affects their money. They ain't gonna do it.
Yes, indeed. Thunder, how you doing? And let's see here. And Michael says Donovan loves the NFL too much. Obviously, he's against Colin Kaepernick for kneeling down during the national anthem. And Tatum, he says, we all know the NFL owners are keeping black owners out. He is who he is. I'm not outraged for. We deal with racists every day. They just happen to have a photo we all have and work with. If going to work tomorrow, you're with them, and I'm still picking up my check. So basically saying we work around them every day. You're absolutely right. Michael, I love it. Says Demetra and Donovan, you guys talk too much. Where's the action? I totally agree with you. That's what I'm saying. We could talk about Jerry Jones all day long being a racist. Maybe he's not a racist, but it's like, what are we going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. We ain't got no power in the NFL. We don't have the power to make them do or not do anything. It's like, all right, you found a picture of Jerry Jones, but what you going to do about it? You know, what you going to do about it? And let's see here. Sherry, how you doing? Black First Family. Yes, indeed. Mr. Al Jackson, what's going on? He says it was a racist politician, Robert Byrd, who Obama and Hillary spoke at his funeral. Yeah, that was another one. You know, they're all, you know, buddies. And Robert Byrd was big time racist. But, you know, so it's like you have a lot of people are saying down with Jerry Jones, but it's like you were up with Joe Biden and them. So I don't know. How does that work, you know? Miss Sunlight, how you doing? He says Dak Prescott doesn't have a problem with it. Yes. And so that's what I'm saying. A lot of players are like, well, he's sure been good to me. So that, you know, of course, they're not going to speak out against it.
Of course, because Master said, you say one goddamn word, I'm voiding your contracts. Straight out. Just like he said, I see one player kneeling, you're out of here.
Right. And the Oracle at Delphi, how are you doing? He says exactly. Who did the 14-year-old grow into? Exactly, right? Did he just morph into somebody else? He's like, oh, I'm not racist no more. They were like Andrew Caldwell says, I'm delivered. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, your actions always show who you are. Anybody could say pretty sounding words. Demetra's got nice sounding words. I've got nice sounding words. You got to look at the actions behind those words. What are your actions? If this man has no black friends, I think one of his sons got married like in the 90s or something like that. And I was looking at the wedding pictures when they posted them. But these people have no black friends. They have no black friends. This guy hosted George Bush in the press box. This guy hosted George Bush in the press box, Donald Trump, all of the people that are so-called racist, and people are surprised. I don't get it.
Yes, indeed. And Tekoa, how are you doing? And let's see here, moving right along. Tatum, he says, no one outraged when many of the players in the 90s got convicted of crack and alcohol control his blacks. Yeah, somebody else was talking about that Michael, what's his name?
Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin, yeah.
He stabbed somebody, yeah.
And he had a bout with crack and stuff. But they said that, Jerry Jones was very gracious to him as well for a very long time. But it's like, okay, of course, you want
Yeah, it's his investment. It's his team, his player. I'm going to pay $50,000 to put up his bail. I'm going to get him the best. What did Suge Knight do when Snoop Dogg was facing a life sentence? Got him the best lawyers possible because he could make more money with Snoop out and making albums. Come on, let's do the math.
Yes, indeed. And Samuel, you say Kyrie didn't deserve that smoke either. He just sent out a tweet. ESPN sent out their number one gatekeeper to defend Jerry. And he did it with all his might. He started off with, I am pissed off. And the Oracle of Delphi, you say, what is the witness that his life from then to now bears? He is who he is. History says that he is. Yeah, it's like, come on. But again, what are we going to do about it, right? And Isaac, how are you doing? And Jay Bubby says, one of the greatest mistakes we made was trying to integrate with them versus improving our own. Yep, and we're still trying to do it. You know what I mean? And Jan Michael, if I didn't already, how you doing? Says exactly, Mr. Donovan. And with a man-made lake too. Who does that? And Govetta, what's going on with you? Says, good evening, Demetra K and Donovan, Black First Family. Yes. LL, how are you? Donovan says, I don't understand why everyone is surprised, right? And True, you says, most of the players don't have the intestinal fortitude to walk off. Now they're getting that money, No,
they're getting that money. A lot of them buy mama a house, which I don't understand. If you guys, especially you ladies, if you have sons that are really good athletes and are heading to the pros, good and great. If they say they're going to buy you a house, make them buy you the damn house and not put payments on it where you're going to lose it after 2 years of his injury and he gets out of the sports thing. Have him buy the house.
Absolutely. And Wanda, hello, how you doing? Thank you so much. And PD Chicago, hello. And thank you, LL. I appreciate that. Moni says a lot of people voted for Trump, and Trump supporters supports Jerry because they're both racist bigots. At some point, it's not about all what Democrats have done. We know what they haven't. Let's focus on Republicans. Well, Republicans, again, they don't hide that they're racist. They're out front with it, right? But we talking about them Democrats. A lot of people voted for the Democrats are mad at Jerry Jones. But it's they both was walking hand in hand with racists. So it's what's the difference, right? We know the Republicans, we know that. Nobody's cutting for the Republicans over here, but we don't want to talk about things that are a given as much as we want to talk about things that are not. So, and Gerard says, the players have the power. They're not going to do anything about it. They need the checks. Ask Kyrie. Yep. And Gilberto says, please like, share, subscribe, become a channel member. Yes. Thank you so much for the reminder.
Yeah. And you also got to remember that the players are like this. You have a lot of talented people out there. So if these guys get contracts voided and they tried to boycott and stuff like that, come on, you got the XFL, which is starting up. You got the USFL out there. It's not going to take long. There's always going to be a scab waiting to get into that position. And that's just the facts. Look at what Kaepernick did and how many Black people stopped watching the NFL to make an impact to where the NFL was looking at it like this is hurting our bottom line. None of them. They were still wearing the jerseys. They were still going to the games. They were still doing what they were doing. And it's a scab mentality, but that's just it's always going to be like that.
Yes, indeed. And Thunder, that was Stephen A. Smith, among a lot of other people that were tap dancing, sticking up for Jerry. But again, it's we don't have the power to do to him what has been done to that of Kanye or Kyrie. We just don't have that power. And so it's just it's cute in theory, right? To think that we, being mad about it. The man didn't even apologize. He's who gonna check me? Well, what y'all gonna do about it? Absolutely nothing. Y'all gonna bring your black asses to the games like you normally do. And these players ain't gonna get froggy either. They gonna be on the field, win, and how long I say for them to be on the field, and I'm gonna go back and high five the rest of the racist owners. And so what? Honestly, that's it in a nutshell, right? And let's see here. Moni, you say Donovan, that shows Jerry Jones is a standard white supremacist. How do you tell somebody not to kneel? How do you tell somebody what book not to read when you talk about your freedom or religion? You're anti-Semitic.
Well, here's how you do it. He that feeds you, he that pays you, he that clothes you is the one that can take all that away. This is why it is so important that we get our people, 70% of all Black people are on some type of government assistance. A lot of our single mothers out there are on Section 8 or what. I'm not saying, I don't know. I'm not even gonna throw the numbers out there, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So right now we have record numbers of evictions right here in California that is happening. It's happening to single mothers. There's not that too many married people or people who are together being evicted. You got these single mothers being evicted, right? The government's giving them Section 8. They're giving it to them. Where are you going to get a house for Section 8 in a good neighborhood that's going to accept it here in California? It's not going to happen. So the premise is this. This is why we've been telling a lot of these people, hey, you can't live off of welfare as a lifestyle, because the same person that puts you there and keeps you there could starve you, unhouse you, all of that stuff. And it's happening in real time today.
I'm gonna just let Sunlight just do what she needs to do. Just
no. This is for everybody. No. This isn't just for like single women. When I use the single women is because more women are on Section 8 than men. Those are just the facts. I don't care if Sunlight. I don't care if you like it or not. Those are the facts. Strong, able-bodied men do not qualify for Section 8 unless you have kids or something like that. These are the facts. In real time here in California, I can't speak on Florida. In California, the statistics are showing more single mothers with families are being evicted, period.
Yes, and I want to actually go back to here. Thunder, you says, family, if you have a child that's a star athlete, push for him to go, or her, to go to a HBCU. That way, the influx of cash will go to the community. Absolutely.
Wait. I looked that up. I got to think. How many of you guys know? How many of you know if an HBCU is owned by Black people? How many of you guys know most HBCUs are not owned by Black people? So how is the money going to Black people? So who's the money going to? It's going to the people that own that college, right? Which is mostly like an endowment or something like that, or whatever. Spelman is owned by, I believe, a white woman or something. It was named after a white woman or whatever it was. So when we say these type of things, oh, we're giving more money to the HBCUs. It's symbolic and it's great that they're doing it. But we have found, if you look at a lot of these HBCUs, the money is not going to help the infrastructure. It rarely goes there. Spelman has a housing crisis right now where they were finding mold and all kinds of crap. So where's all this money going? Most HBCUs are not owned by Black people. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, so we know that most of them are not owned by Black people. I think that's a given. But the thing is that Black people are there. And so that, I mean, I would imagine some of the money helps them to some degree. But I mean, we don't have a lot of institutions that are ours, and we should. So yeah, I mean, the money is not going to go there necessarily. And, you know, the schools are really bad off. I think of Howard, which is Kamala's alma mater, if you will. And she did a whole lot of marching through there. But that's where the mold and the rats and the roaches and the leaking water and all that was. That was at Howard, among a couple other ones. And she basically just ignored the crap out of them. She didn't even, really say much about it at all. And so the other thing is, we vote for that. We vote for that. When the Biden and them came in, it was about $55 billion that was supposed to go to help the HBCUs, but then it dwindled down to about $2 billion, and they have to share that with the indigenous people school and things like that. And so that's what we voted for, though. So I don't know. All right, so let me get back to this. Pamela, and how you doing, by the way? He says, how many people know that the dollar is worth 6 cents? Sounds about right. Okay, so let's see here. And hello, Deshaun, how are you doing? And Sunlight says 70% of Black people are not on assistance. And Wanda, how you doing? It says people don't have jobs. No, Dad, so they're doing their best. Okay, and Ty, how you doing? It says facts. And Sean B, how you doing? B1 says, I knew that. And Michael says Donovan does not like the government for helping Black women out. He is a Republican for being self-sufficient and community-oriented. He will be happy if Republicans take over in California and not support you. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Under that premise, no, I'm into doing for self. Again, if you are reliant on somebody to house you and feed you, that person can starve you and unhouse you. And that's the problem. I don't want to see, single mothers and families out there on the streets. We can only help each other so much. Now, somebody said that 70% of Black people are not on assistance. 13% of the Black population is the Black population in the United States. It's 13%. There are more white people because there's more white people. That is a accounting trick that they use for you. Out of 13% of Black people, 70% of us are at below the poverty level, at the poverty level, or just above the poverty level. That is a fact.
I think she's taking exception to you saying that 70% of Black people are on assistance, public assistance.
Some form of assistance, food stamps or whatever. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just gave you the numbers.
I don't know about that, Donovan. That sounds rather. I mean, I'm not saying it's not high.
Food stamps is a form of assistance. Food stamps is a form of assistance.
I really can't fact check at this moment because I'm doing the show. But if somebody else wants to fact check that, then
food stamps. If you are getting food stamps, that is a form of assistance. So if you're not including that, I'm not talking about just Section 8. That isn't what I'm talking about.
We know food stamps, Medi-Cal, cash, Section 8,
exactly.
Or something. So you're saying 70% of Black people are at least on one of those things. So I don't have any. I can't fact check at this moment. But if somebody wants to do that, that would be great because I want to make sure that we put out information that's accurate. So I'm not saying that you're not telling the truth. I just want to make sure that it's accurate. So Ali says, Jones donated $1 million to the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund and built a cancer center, giving $40 million to the cause. Okay, so you're saying that he has done some philanthropy. I mean, $1 million to Hurricane Harvey, that's a drop in the bucket for him, but thank you. I don't know. And how you doing, Tisha K? What's going on with you? And Gilberto, he says, Donovan, you did state that before, okay? And then Ty says, also, you going there for the name? And forgive me, I'm not for sure what that's in regards to, so forgive me. And Wanda says, to get off Section 8, offer them jobs or how to get your own business. And Gilberto says, we have to research everything. True. And Thunder says, thank you, I stand corrected. But my point was to try to keep it home. I mean, I got where you was going with that. I got exactly where you was going with that. And we will. How you doing? Says, yes, we do. And let's see here. And Tisha says, my daughter got an early acceptance to Howard and she refused to go there. Said her living quarters had to be equal to her home life. Yeah, my daughter also had a scholarship to go to Howard. But then we learned that her father being 100% service connected in the military, she could go to school tuition free in California. Does not apply to everywhere else. So guess what we chose? But so yeah, my daughter had a scholarship to go to Howard as well. Let's see here. Michael, so you're talking to Wanda. And Trudy says there's more white people on assistance than melanated people. Yes. But if you're talking about disproportionate, then yeah, because as Donovan said, we're about 12, 13, 14% of the population to they're about almost 60%. So if we're speaking in disproportionate numbers, then yeah, it would make us more on it than them, if that makes any sense. It's a numbers game. So, and Wanda, you say offer jobs, and then Sudi Band, he says, we continue to make others rich while buying and supporting their companies. And even when they treat us badly, we continue to go support them. Nothing will change until we truly reinvest in ourselves. I totally agree with you. And Sunlight says 70% of Black people are not on assistance. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the fact check.
Disagree. I sent you in the messenger private chat. I disagree.
Okay, but hold on a second. Let's see. And Michael says it means that Donovan is against universal health care, etc. I don't think that he is. And Tatum, he says no different than nonprofits. Most nonprofits put black on the poster and the commercials, but the majority of the board is racist white folks. All you have to do is look at the goals and the concerts. The majority of Black people are not there, but we raise millions for them just so they can bring in millions on salaries. I totally agree. And I suggest everybody look at nonprofits to see where the money is actually going. A lot of the money raised for the nonprofits actually even go to help the people they say they're going to help. A lot of it trickles up instead of trickling down and out. So Ty, he says Mexicans should be number one. And Al says Jones. So I think I put that up there already. But let's see here. And Sunlight saying it's false. And We Will says, yes, it is assistance. Robin says, I don't know any Black person that's on any assistance. And Ty says, not Donovan, my fault. So I'm not know what that's about. And Tisha says the average income for Black women is $35,000 in New York. That will have you homeless. Yes, that have you homeless anywhere, just about, right? So yeah, California, a lot of places in California, forget about it, right? Iron Will, how you doing? He says Black First Family. Says salute to you, Demetra K, and to the Recovering Democrat. Love this channel, and we love you too. And hello, PGH, Big Dog. How are you doing? Thank you so much. Mr. Pirate Brain, how are you doing? You says, does assistance mean disability? It could. I mean, if that's it's considered a form of assistance and you're getting something from it, it could.
Yeah, like if you're on state Medi-Cal or something of that nature. What is it? Medi-Cal, Medicaid, or whatever. Which one is it?
Either one.
Yeah, it's one or the other. If you're getting a state supplemented type help, that's a form of assistance.
I think they're both a form of substance or whatever it is to some degree. All right, and Darshani says HBCU not owned by copper colored people at all, so AKA black people. I think that's what you meant. And Jan Michael, he says that would be the conclusion is we could be certain of the numbers. Okay, I think you're talking about the assistance thing. Wanda says immigrants get a package when they get here. Yes, they do. Only Pamela's Way says how can more black people be getting the most assistance when right now it's more white people? And I say a study, it shows more whites getting assistance, and whites were assistance back in getting more, I think, in the 50s is where you're going with that?
Yeah, and they're still getting more assistance today. It's proportionate to your population. So if we're only 13%, a big portion of our 13% is on assistance. If you look at the white people, let's say they're 60% of their numbers. Out of that 60%, only 30% of their 60, out of that 100%, of their 60, it's 30. It's an accounting trick. It's an accounting trick. Majority of white people are not on assistance. Now, if you take that 30% of white people, that 30% alone outnumbers our 13%. So depending on how you look at it, but factually, proportionate wise to our population, there are more black people on assistance per our population.
Again, I need a moment to look into that. Perhaps I will, but I'm waiting for somebody. Donovan has given us his. I'll put it up there again. It says what percentage of African Americans get welfare? Between 80 and 90% of the African American community gets one form or another of welfare. In the United States, a higher number of white people than black get welfare. So that's Donovan's. That's what he's saying is his fact. So I'm waiting to see otherwise. And Sunlight says, yep, and you were debunked almost a year ago, and you know this. And Kimberly, how are you doing? He says, what caused Black Americans to be on public assistance is because of the U.S. government's systemic racism, which has been embedded in this nation's laws and society and education. That has a lot to do with it. But also, if you do your research, you know that originally when the New Deal was rolled out by FDR, Black people weren't included in that until his wife was like, yo, you need to include Black people, because that was right on the heels of the Great Depression. And white people needed help. And that's where it was going. At first, Black people were left out, and then they included us. And, many people, including white people, have been on it ever since. So I'll look it up. So Donovan said a higher proportion of Blacks than whites get it. That is because a higher proportion of Blacks than whites are poor. Why is that? All right. So, and then Trudy says there are too many melanated people on this continent to still be at 13%. So yeah, I want to address that. Well, we know why. And some people are saying the numbers could be fudged, whether that's true or not. But we have a whole lot of things working against us. And y'all know what that is. I mean, we can even bring up abortion. We know that is aimed more so at our community than any other community. And so that's one thing. And of course, we'll go into some other things as we go along. One who cares, how you doing? It says, good evening, Demetra and Donovan in chat. Get the likes up. Yes, please. And thank you. And Robin, you say immigrants get more government assistance than any legal citizen could ever get in this country. But that's another conversation. That is true. And Damon, how are you? You say positive vibes to all in the chat. And then Ty, you says, you're right, Robin. So you're replying to Robin. And La Raza Africana, how you doing? It says African Americans must buy real estate in Latin America and Southeast Asia. If that's at all easy to do. I know in some cases it's not, but we can try by buying real estate here. And we will. He says peace and blessings, family. And Rashad says, I don't know the stats, but I know quite a few Black people who get food stamps, including men. I wish I could get food stamps, laugh out loud. Right?
Exactly. I'm the same way. You give me $50. Now, here's my thing. And I'm glad that you guys are debating this and you guys are coming at me and you guys are trying to throw the numbers. You guys know in this country, Black people are at the bottom of the economic system, even though we are the ones that uphold the economic system because we're the one that spends the most money. We're the only group that spends the most money the way that we do. Correct? Why is it that when somebody says something that I've said that I'm telling you is basically fact, be it 70, be it 80, be it 60, a greater proportion of Black people in our population is on some form of assistance. I don't care what you say. You guys get offended by that. But what we should be talking about is, even if that is true, what I'm saying is true, why aren't we doing something about getting these people off of this? Because that's Section 8. I'm not shaming people that are on Section 8. Section 8 is a needed need for those that need help. It's not a lifestyle. Why has Section 8 in the Black community become a lifestyle? Now here we are in the 21st century. I'm here in Southern California, and I'm seeing single mothers being thrown in the streets with Section 8 vouchers. The government, the county here in Riverside is giving them out like Jolly Ranchers. Where in Southern California are you going to live with a Section 8 voucher that a landlord is going to accept? And this is going on all over the country. Right now, we know 50% of all homeless across the nation is Black. How can you guys sit there and refute my numbers when you guys even know for yourself 50% of homeless people are Black around the country? How could you refute the numbers? Oh, that's right. We always want to see ourselves in a better light. We like to fool ourselves on a constant basis.
I don't even really remember how we got here, to be honest with you. I really don't. But here we are. So I'm just continue reading the comments, and then I'll give my opinion about it all, I think. So Tisha says, go to blackdemographics.com. Yes, I've actually gone there before. So maybe I'll try to go there before I leave here. Okay, so let's see here. Deshaun says, copper color bronze men. Bronze women, not African. Merriam-Webster, I think you meant Webster definition. Bronze women, 1828. Okay. Robin says, I need to see the stats, not opinions. Yeah, that's why I'm saying somebody throw them in there. Perhaps I will go there once I get a chance. And Gerard says, it's two different things. We're confusing. Donovan was talking about percentage of Black people, and people are talking about percentage of public welfare recipients. That's why I was like, how did we get here? I'm confused now. To keep it real with you, I don't know. And Sunlight says, let Donovan fact check. He's the one saying this. Okay.
And I fact check, and you guys are still disputing it.
Okay, so let me see here. I lost my place. It jumped up. Where did it go? Okay. And Yasha, well, how you doing? It says 85% Black, 70% white, and 65% Asian and Hispanic. And I'm sorry, and is that regards to the stats that Donovan was saying? And Bobby Scott, how you doing? It says 80 to 90% of Blacks in the U.S. are on government assistance. Lie. Woo. All right, so we keep on reading. Oh, this how you doing? It says Jerry was there to throw a punch. Who knows, right? Only Pamela's Way says, yeah, okay, I'm going to believe the same people who murdered and abused my people. I believe nothing the whites say, period. And yes, Deshaun, abortion is one of the ways that may have our population where it is. I mean, obviously, it should be a lot more. And Bobby said, we need to start referencing our data sources to validate these. And then you put up some emojis I can't see on my end. It says, but I think social media statements. And that's what I like to do as well. So that's why I said I can't debunk it, and I can't, agree with it because I don't know myself, and I tend to like to, be sure. So I'm not saying Donovan's wrong, but I'd like to see somebody, if I have a chance to put up some statistics. Only says, nevertheless, Donovan, do you think that it's okay, as if you say 70% of Black people on assistance, which is a lie? Do you think that it is okay not to bring up when you got some landlords make excuses on it? I'll let you answer that in the comment section.
Wait, read that again. I'm sorry, I didn't get.
If you can go up to the where she says, nevertheless, Donovan, do you think it's okay? And Thunder says, is there any way you can get an actual head count of us, because it's a bit weird that our numbers haven't moved at all? I totally agree, and I'll tell you, I used to work for the census not so long ago, and I know that sometimes people, when you ask them questions, they can say they are whatever they are. So I don't know. Just like I know a lot of Hispanics, instead of saying that because it's weird, because it tells them that they can't say that they're Hispanic. But if you go through like the back door, if you will, they can say it there. But off the top, they can't say that they're Hispanic. So a lot of them say, well, I'm white. So I don't know. Although I haven't come across any Black people that said that they're white when they're clearly Black. But I could not tell them that they were not. So just want to put that out there. And Sunlight says, I'm not confused. I heard exactly what he said, and it's false. Okay. And Larazi says, ADOS, FBA, get even with immigrants in the U.S. buy real estate in the nations they come from. Okay. Rashad says, if they're taking taxes out of your check, you should be able to get food stamps if you need them. Yeah, but they have all these, I guess these, I won't say litmus tests, that's not the word, that you have to pass in order to get them, right? I mean, if you're making $1 more, it's like, oh, it sucks for you, you can't get it. All right, so let me go ahead and skip down a little bit because I want to catch up, and I will read anybody who came on here I haven't seen in a minute. Kimberly says, I'm confused. The 70% of Afro-Americans are on welfare assistance. That leaves only 30% of us that are not yet. Supposedly, we spend $1 trillion per year as a group. Good point. Iron Williams says that part I agree that Section 8 and welfare is the same move. Yeah. And Depp knows how you doing. He says close their legs. So y'all talking about the women that are on Section 8 and welfare. Is that what you're saying? They need to close their legs? Oh Lord.
Yeah, the issue is not what women are doing or what they're not doing. The issue is people on assistance. Now, this is across Black, white, Hispanic, whatever lines you want to do. But see, I like to talk about my people by itself. There are men on some kind of form of welfare, be it food stamps or whatever. Like I said, I've made a statement here. If I can get on food stamps, I would. I don't shame anybody of doing it. The point that I'm making is proportionate to our population. A majority of us are on some form of assistance. And here in Southern California, where I live, the eviction moratorium is up. And now single mothers who have families are being evicted in the streets. And nobody is outraged by that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep on reading because I think that's kind of where I was like, how do we get here? It maybe as sometimes I be in the comment section, so
some people get triggered.
Man, I mean, it was like how do we get here? You know what I mean? He was talking about Jerry Jones, and then anyway, Tisha, he says go to blackdemographics.com, click the household tab, and then look to poverty. The percentages are there. The highest poverty rates. 39% are for Black families with children, which are headed by single Black women. Direct quote.
Right, and that's a good point, Tisha. There. Also, remember though, you're not considered below poverty if you're just above it. If you're just above it, and I guess the poverty rate is like what, 17,000 or 20? I don't know, 20. What is it now? 18,000.
The average. I'm having a brain freeze. It's like the average wealth of Black families. What it is.
Yeah. But so to me, I'm sorry. I'm just referencing where I'm from in California. If the poverty level is $21,000 here, that's not enough to live here in California. So I'm going to consider that below poverty in my state.
I'm gonna skip down to a little bit. I see something like is not having it. Rashawn says seniors on fixed incomes should get Section 8 food stamps and any other help they can get. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that as well. Let's see here. Kimberly says that 60% of the homeless are Black Americans, then they aren't getting assistance.
Not true. Usually if you are homeless out in the streets, I can only speak for California, what I know here. Most people that I know, they're in the streets. Why do they have all the trash? And they have plenty of food. They have plenty of food. They're getting that because they get an EBT card, which is a form of assistance in food stamps.
I'm gonna let y'all go back because that's why I said, how do we get here? Donovan, people are taking exception to what you said, and so I'm just
they could take exception. We really need to talk about this because we have a epidemic that is coming down the pipe and is here right now, where women are being thrown out into the streets and nobody's doing anything about it. Our Black boule, our so-called Black servants, nobody's talking about these women and these children out here in the streets. Period.
Anita says, according to the 2022 census, Blacks are 19.5%, are below 100% of the poverty line. Only 8.1% of whites are below the 100% poverty line. So you're saying, if I can understand it right, it's 19%.
All right, so what's the poverty line? That's the question.
That's a good question because it moves, right?
Yeah,
So
because if the average black man makes $40,000 in the United States, if that's $40,000, the average income that a black man makes, I'm not speaking about black women, black men make 40,000, then what's the poverty line? $40,000 is not a lot of money. If you live in New York, Chicago, and all these other places that have things, $40,000 is not a lot of money.
So they're asking you, Donovan, to cite your sources, if you will. I just saw what you sent me, but they're asking you to cite your sources. All right, so let me get back. Ooh, I'm behind. Okay, so yes, let's see here. Michael says, Donovan, if you don't want your sisters to be on Section 8, then a living wage and business support are needed. A living wage means that your sisters won't have to be on Section 8. Now, you said a mouthful there.
Absolutely. And we have black leaders, the Black Boule and the Congressional Black Talkers that are doing absolutely nothing about this stuff. Karen Bass just won mayor of LA, and she went out openly and spoke what she's going to do for the Hispanic community, said nothing about what she's going to do for the Black community.
Yes, indeed. And absolutely, Jay, you're absolutely right. And yes, sure. If I didn't already, how you doing? He says, yes, it's in the reference to his stats. I will also say I'm disabled for the rest of my life. How does Donovan suggest I live because I'm unable to work?
The public safety net is why they take money out of our check. I'm not saying that there should not be a safety net. That is not what I'm saying. Do you see how we take stuff and we go far left with it?
Well, wait. Let me, because that's why I said, how did we get here? So
yeah.
Maybe a lot of people are confused, or maybe you need to clarify, what that's about. Because that's why I kind of see what's going on. That's why I'm not really interjecting a lot.
Yeah.
So
well, let me answer this question. I'm not saying people that need it. In a lot of countries, there is no safety net. There is no safety net. But what I'm saying is this. When a good proportion of your population is on that safety net, the government got you. That's what I'm saying. We have to find a way to start doing for ourselves. More Black businesses, more resources in the Black community. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need to be talking about. But when we are openly and willingly going on Section 8, welfare, when we don't have to, when we technically do not have to, it becomes a lifestyle, which a lot of it has done over the years. Now we're seeing the result of what welfare has done to a lot of young mothers and families right now. Winter is here. It's here. And nobody's addressing it. Nobody's talking about it in the mainstream news. Nobody's talking about this. And these people are being evicted. And we're in winter right now.
And I'm going to just get time to the bottom of the comments. I'm going to try to put my little opinion on it. But the Oracle at Delphi says, whether Donovan has the right or wrong percentage, it's true that the descendants of slavery anchor at the bottom of the economy. Now, that I think we all can agree on. So that is absolutely correct. And let's see here. And Pamela, you say, I personally think is lower, but okay. That's all started back when the whites, Gloria Steinem, came up with the plan to push the fathers out of the home into prison. So I plan to help my people, period. And Bobby, you say define assistance, be very specific. This can be misleading. Okay. And let's see here. Rashad says, if you lose your job, then you're just getting the money back in food stamps they took out in taxes to pay Medicare. Most men can't even get Medicare. That is true. And Wilbur, how you doing? He says, I feel you, Donovan, but the numbers are off somewhere. What I mean is, how do we make up 13%, but we're at the top of all negative stats? As a mathematician, the math ain't mathing. So, of course, and I suck at math, even though, Brother Samuel, how you doing? He says, I beg to differ. You are good at math in other areas. But are you factoring in disproportionate? You know what I mean? Wilbur, if you don't mind me asking, and welcome to the chat. Brother Samuel, he says, greetings, D&D. Just read the topic. Did you all discuss Stephen A's response? Yes. And we said that, he has a mean, soft shoe, to say the least. And Brother Perry, how you doing? He says, I get VA disability, but I deserve this because I got my disability from being in the military.
Sure. Absolutely. No, we're not saying stuff that is earned. You earned it. When if you've been working for 20 years and they're taking all that money out of your check, it's supposed to go to Social Security, which we need to protect, because the Republicans supposedly get in there that they want to take Social Security, right? Whatever. What you earn is what you earn and is what you should get. But at the same time, we also get money taken out of our check for the social safety net. We do that. But isn't it the Democrats the one that always cave into the Republicans when they want to cut this back, cut that back, cut this back? So my point is this right now, where we're at today, mass evictions is happening across the nation. 50% of all homeless in the nation. If we're only 13%, how the hell is 50% of the homeless population Black? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody.
And Wanda, you say what's the solution? I'm gonna get to that. I'm trying to get to these comments. We're gonna all get to it, I think. And Otis, she says in Chicago, some public housing units are paying electric bills. Yeah, and that's not uncommon. In some, and a lot of them, I would say they do tend to pay some sort of utility. So, absolutely. And Michael says Donovan, the living wage needs to be somewhere between 38 and 188,000 a year in California. Yeah, and who was that? Yeshua, you say $21,000 is not a lot to live on anywhere. You are absolutely right. Some people, if not a lot of people, are paying that in rent alone every year, right? And that's considered half of some people's income, or even more than half of some people's income. So you are absolutely right. Mr. Pirate Brain, you say Donovan is telling the truth. And let's see, let me skip down a little bit. Teacher says, same here in New York. Donovan, the poverty level is under 21,000, but you can't survive without assistance on $21,000. And I'm assuming that's a year. And Yeshua says, Donovan is right, though. We aren't mad enough about how our people are being treated. Yeah, I mean, there's things that we should be doing, we're just not doing. And Brother Samuel says, a thought just hit me. Why do they call it Section 8? 8 is the number of rebirth or infinity standing up. That's a good question. Why do they call it that? Does it mean to continue forever in the system, living on Section 8? I don't know.
Or is it the same as Lift Every Voice plan? Is it the same as that? Whatever happened to that?
Right. And our brother Damien says, is that 40,000 after taxes? And I'm sorry, what is that in relation to? That's why I'm going to try to keep up here. And We Will says, because they are part of the problem. And Tisha says the State Department of Labor will give you those numbers as well. And Wanda says, help. Then let's talk about what we can do. So we are going to talk about that. Let me just get to the bottom. And Diably, how are you doing? And let's see who else came on here before I transition. And one who cares says Donovan is speaking facts. Black Alpha Network was speaking the same facts. Keep on Donovan. Okay. And Sherry says President Roosevelt signed the welfare bill to help white women whose husbands went off to war. Even then, Black women whose husbands served in a segregated war did not receive any benefits. That is absolutely true. And let's see. Okay, so Gavetta, you sent me an email. Okay, I will check it out. And Jay's Journey, you said, so what's the solution, Donovan? Because really this has been going on long enough. And it seems today we are ready to change everything. But after 2 beers and a trash music, we forget everything. Unfortunately, right? And LL says he's speaking out of concern regarding the mothers getting evicted. He's not being negative. No, I didn't think he was being negative. But the point that I'm making is when we speak, we should try to bring some facts or some, where we got it from. And I know some things are skewed. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but at least, that way we could avoid all of this, which is why I say I don't even know how we got here, but I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it back and then say, oh, okay, that's what we missed. Oh, did she say Chicago Housing Authority scam Black residents into changing low-income properties into private mixed income now? CHA residents are paying for both electric and gas while getting stamps. Eesh. It's a sad situation. Anita says the national poverty line for a family is 13.5. Is 18.3 for 3, or for 2 is 18.33. It's 23,000. 4 is 27, give or take. 5 is so you go on and on and on. Okay, got it. And Diablo says, yep, here in Los Angeles County. Shut up, I wasn't talking to you. That was Siri. It says, yep, here in Los Angeles County, there are thousands of Black homeless. I'm of the small fortunate percentage to own here. Yeah, there's a lot of homeless people, and at least 50% of them in Los Angeles and the United States are Black people. So we do need to discuss what do we do about it, right? And he says, IRT, he says, put those God-given skills to use. So it's kind of jumbled. So maybe you'll rewrite and I can read it. And Thunder says, question, how about we use some of that income tax return money for good, like pay up life insurance premiums for a year or put in savings bonds or in a Roth IRA? It sounds good to me. Michael says you're good at math. I bet I'm not. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Darshan, you say us start our own reparation community. We could do that as well. Robin says exactly. The math ain't matching. Okay, let's see. Go down, go down. And we will. He says I'm not knocking anyone who gets assistance, but when to get off, they will put you off when you would least expect it. Yeah, you got to be prepared, right? Spaceman, how you doing? He says stop believing what they tell you. I'm with it. I can dig it. All right. And Gerardi says, yeah, Social Security, Medicare, and VA benefits are not public assistance. Okay, so you're saying we could take those off the table. All right. The Oracle at Delphi says what Donovan suggests that's triggering is that the descendants of slavery can't work or entrepreneur their way out of the bottom status. We can't. So they're saying, Donovan, you're saying that that's how we should do it, but they're saying that we can't. And Sunlight says he's not telling the truth about 70% of Black people being on assistance. Okay, and only Pamela's Way says, oh, I never answered your question, Capital. No, not only is he not invited. So you're talking about Jerry Jones, he's not invited, okay? And what we say 27 and forgive me, I don't know what that's in regards to. That's why I'm gonna get to the bottom so I can catch up here. And Sean, you says one question: how long has this lying government been saying our numbers are 12% to 13% of the United States population? For a very long time. And True says for many people it hasn't gotten bad enough. Yep, we just I give the frog in the boiling water scenario all the time. You guys know that scenario. If you don't, I'll tell it to you in just a minute. Yes, or what you say? Put the 8 sideways and it's infinity. Yes, indeed. And Wanda says some of our people work and still need assistance. Yep, the working poor.
Yes, remember, we're not trying to shame people who get assistance. That isn't what we're saying. What we're saying is all across this nation, you guys are seeing at disproportionate numbers of our people being put to the streets, much less young families, and nobody is doing anything about it. They're using the law, and I'm not against landlords because landlords need to be paid just as much as anything else. But the question is, with these so-called Black servants that we've elected, the Democratic Party, who's supposed to be for the people, regardless of how you feel my numbers are or not, when I go outside, I see Black people living in the parks. I see Black people doing what they're doing. No place to go, just trying to make it happen. Where are these Black leaders that see this stuff going on? We can agree the statistical numbers of homeless people in the United States is 50%. So if we all know that, what are our Black so-called leaders doing about it?
The Rock, you say at some point they will have to do a UBI to prevent a serious uprising. Yes, universal basic income. And Andrew Yang was suggesting that when he was running for president, and I didn't hate it. I actually thought it was a very smart idea to do. So I totally agree. In some places they are doing it, but not as much as it should be everywhere. So I agree with you on that.
Right. Explain to me how Afghans, people who aren't even citizens here, not only get cash assistance, they get put up in Airbnbs. Their homeless problem is solved. You've got illegal people that have come into this country. They get assistance and cash money and all that other stuff, and their problem solved. But when it comes to Black people, we're not talking about it because you know what? We're so busy worried about what we got. Now, I could be one of those people that'd be like, well, I got mine, you guys get yours. No, I'm looking out my window and I'm seeing young families being thrown out in the streets in LA. And I have a problem with that. And we're not talking about that.
Gavetta says, I think we was saying, let's put those God-given skills to use like our ancestors did. Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah, sometimes I have to keep reading and, I don't have time to, and it's me too, because sometimes my reading be jacked up, so I ain't gonna lie to kick it. But thank you so much for, why am I caught up here? Hold on a second, y'all. 1 second. I didn't want to hurt you guys' ears. Okay, so thank you so much for that. And Josh Shine says HOA housing, don't own it. Yeah, I would never want to live in an HOA. That is for the birds, but they're everywhere, right? All right, so let's see here. Just going to catch up here. And Rashad says, from everyone now since the rent hike. Yeah, it's horrible. The rent hike is horrible. Wanda says, how can we start to put money to help people in need? We're going to get right to it. And Thunder says, and by the way, DK, you look great in that exercise clip. Says, keep the work great. I think it's kind of jumbled there. He says there are some women in their 20s and 30s getting nervous, and some 60-plus-year-olds talking about coming out of retirement. Come on, bring it. Trust me, I was winded. I was doing all those sprints. So I was like, but I got to, right? Because you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm not trying to be that, but thank you.
You guys got to remember, Demetra has a natural BBL, so she needs her little drumsticks to support all that.
Right. Let's see here. And Kiana, how are you doing? It says their housing is the housing of immigrants. Yes, indeed, especially in New York. They're like happy to be doing it, right? And Damon says those so-called black leaders sold us out a long time ago and keep doing it, right? And Michael says Donovan, black leaders have been co-opted by the modern Democrats who tell them that a black agenda is too much. I totally agree with you. And Tisha says New York City just partnered with Marriott and they're putting up people, mostly immigrants, in those hotels. Yep, I saw that. So what's up with that, right? Sunlight says that's valid. Still doesn't make your stats true. I don't know what the argument is. Kimberly says, read Census Bureau article July 21st, 2021 on racial disparities on loss of income and housing. Okay, thank you. Darshan says homeless people worse in Atlanta. So you're saying it's even worse there? And Wilbur says, I promise I'm trying to save my people, but half of them are not trying to save themselves. Yes, that has a lot to do with it. And Brother Samuel says, you are right. Demetra is great at math. Math, in my opinion, is symbolic practice of logical thinking using the manipulation of symbols like letters and numbers to open up different logic centers in the brain. Mathematics is the language of God. Yes. So you said what I was trying to say. Absolutely. And only Pamela's Way says Donovan's Biden made some backhanded deals and he doesn't give a shat about American people at all. And Patty, you say no HOA paying for someone to tell me what I can't and can't do on my property. No, thank you. See, that's me too. It's like, And Otis, she says, yes, in Chicago, the Hispanic immigrants are given jobs over black people. Mm-hmm. And we vote for that, right?
Right. And I got a question for you. Some of you guys that were anticipating that student loan thing, how did that work out for you? Isn't it funny how I'm going to do this for student loans just before the election? They barely hold on to the Senate, right? They already lost the House. And now it's been, in court, downstruck. And Biden knew that. You don't need to go to court to forgive student loan. The president has the power of the pen to erase all of your student debt, all of it. But you know why Biden won't do it? Because where are most of the major banks housed in? Dover, Delaware. Where's Biden when he was a senator from? Delaware. He's beheld to those banks who depend on the interest that you guys have to pay on those loans to keep the money coming in. This is the game. And yet we're voting for these people who don't give a shit about us. And now here it is, winter. And I'm not talking metaphorically winter as it's getting cold. I'm talking about we are now at a point where government will give people Section 8 vouchers. And there is no place where anybody will accept them. Now, what do we do?
So let me see here. So we got to the bottom here. And Sudi Bang says when housing is more expensive than what most people can afford, homeless numbers raised significantly. Yes. And I'm going to get into that just a second. And Gilberto says, Demetra K, yes, homelessness is bad in the ATL. And we have a lot of families that can't afford living in rented homes or apartments. Therefore, they're living in hotels and in cars and stuff, right? And Kimberly says federal data shows California built 14,000 shelters from 2019 to 2021 for homeless people, and that is true. And Patty says, don't make me mad at recovering Democrat. Biden lied coming through the door. Right. And Damon says, remember red or blue, huh? Red or blue don't give a F about you. No tangibles, no vote. Black first family. Yes, indeed. And True says, creating more chaos. And Kiki, how you doing? He says, my face every time I hear Biden's name. And so she put that up there. Sherry says, I don't feel immigrants should receive any benefits. Biden used the student loan forgiveness ploy as a campaign tactic. He will not get my vote. But yeah.
And guess what? It worked. It worked.
Right. Oda says, what black leaders, Mayor Lightfoot didn't have to take those immigrants to Chicago. She admitted to giving them housing, jobs, funding. Where are the Chicago black leaders against this? They're all for it, right? And Moni says if the number stayed at 13 to 14%, you know it's a damn lie. Like they undercut and count black communities, so we know that's not accurate, which means our numbers are far greater. I would agree with that.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. I'm just going to throw this out there. Could the 13 and 14% that they're, relating to, and I know they use this as a whole, but could that just be like, fundamental blacks that have been here, for that period of time? Because I would think that would be accurate if you're descendant of a slave. That would be about right. Then you add in the Africans and the Caribbean people that have come here. Our numbers should be bigger. So I'm not, that's the way I'm kind of speculating that number.
Yes, indeed. So, and thank you, Otis. I appreciate that. And how you doing, Virgo? So, Sherry says, I was homeless back in the day with my daughter, and it was no joke. Yes, indeed. Homelessness is no joke, and I've never been homeless. So I want to say, thank God Almighty that I've never been that, which is why I don't look down on people who struggle, because there, but for the grace of God, there go I. There go you and everybody else. It could be us. And so thank God it is not. And Patty says, not including incarcerated, maybe. And Moni says, let's talk about your beloved Republicans who has never done a damn thing. Donovan, don't get me wrong. I don't care for a Democrat. I'm not voting for neither, but one, but always be equal. Let's be clear. Got you.
It doesn't matter if Republican or Democrat, because here's my opinion on that. A Democrat is more sleazy than a Republican because a Democrat lies to you, whereas a Republican is like, nah, I ain't doing shit for you. Straight up. Done. And I could deal with the person that tells me where I stand. I can deal with that.
Yes, indeed. Pamela says, Donovan, when Biden went to China, he was over there begging. Have you heard about that?
Yes, Pamela, and a lot of you people, how many of you guys know that a lot of the American debt is owned by China? Of course he was begging. He was like, please give us some more time. Give me an extension. Because as deadbeat as the United States is, we know that we're not going to pay that debt. We're going to have to go to war with China somewhere along the line down the road. They own our debt. That's who's buying our debt.
Absolutely, Gilvetta. I mean, I think we really need to think how fortunate we are, and a lot of people are just really a paycheck away, probably less than that now, than facing homelessness. I know a lot of people who are having to move in with each other, and that's what should be going on. And so I will say this, y'all know I reference this book a lot, Message to the Black Man in America. Okay. There's a solution in here, because a lot of times we in the Black community say, oh, well, there is no Black agenda. What's the Black agenda? We don't know what to do. But it's like, well, this book has been around, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Samuel, it was since 1963, give or take. It's been around that long. Y'all can see that I do. It's yellow. That's why you can't hardly see it. I highlight and I read through it. But the solution is here. And basically, it's saying do for self, right? We talk about reparations a lot. Oh, we need reparations, which we do. We need our money. It is owed to us. It is going to take about 232 years, probably more at this point, to close the wealth gap between white and Black people. It said that white people have about $171,000 of net worth compared to that of Black people on average is $17,000, which is probably not even that at this moment. It's probably getting larger. And so until we get the reparation to help us close that wealth gap, they owe us a lot of money. Let's keep it real. We probably can't even count how much they owe us. It's a lot. But until then, we have been instructed to do for self. Even before this book came out, the Honorable Marcus Garvey told us to do for self. He said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about it a lot in Powernomics. There are things that we need to do for self. He says that if we do not make a move, and this was like 95, he said this, that we will be a permanent underclass. And so it would make you ask, are we now permanent underclass? And if it's not, we are pretty close to being that. And so what do? Well, I tell y'all about this book all the time, and it's on YouTube. I don't know how long it's going to be on YouTube, but it's called The Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. Now, that book is an audio book on YouTube, and this book, they're saying the same thing, but The Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth, it is talking about how to practice group economics. It talks about how Asians practice group economics and how they are doing well. It started off by saying Black people always accuse Asians of rooking the system, if you will, or the system doing this and that for them, which that's true to some degree. But the author is saying, nah, not so fast. We in the Asian community know how to practice group economics. And so we're talking about this housing situation, which Robert Kiyosaki, who is an economist, if you will, he's an expert on motivational speaking and all of that. But he talks about how this housing thing is going to get worse, and eventually we're going to see a bubble like we did in 2008 to 2010, where it collapsed. Because for one, these people a year ago went out and bought all these houses that were high. People were buying on a frenzy. Oh, I gotta buy. And then guess what? Now we see the interest rates come up, and people bought at these high interest rates, and the mortgages are high. And a lot of these people bought the properties for investment properties, right? So you have an investment property, you want to rent it out to people. But the problem is that people cannot afford to rent a house at 4 in Moreno Valley where Donovan lived. I saw a house for rent. It was a 5-bedroom for $7,200 for rent. And so the problem is you got these people who are buying these properties for investments to rent out to people. It's like, well, who the hell gonna rent it? Because most people can't afford to pay the rent. Well, because for one, the mortgage is expensive. And so you got to have somebody come in there to pay that mortgage. People can't do that. So the solution, as they say in the Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth, is to house together, move together. But as he said it in the book, he references as the Westerners as idiots. He says that the Westerners, people in America, are idiots. Says because y'all can't get along long enough to live under the same roof. He says, but in the Asian community, we learn how to get along with each other because the common goal for us is to not be a slave to the system. Not talking about, oh, we gonna be homeless or we don't know what we gonna do. He says, we don't have a problem with scrubbing toilets and waiting tables and doing whatever we need to do. All of us in the house, because we know the goal is to put our money together, buy another house, bring some more people, buy some more houses, and then we buy every damn thing up. And we don't become a victim of the system. He says, if you see a homeless Asian person out there, it's probably because they have absolutely nobody else, or maybe something, is mentally going on with them. But he says it's rare. And you ask yourself, when is the last time you saw a homeless Asian person? He says, because we understand the value of family, or even not if they're family with friends, we're not going to have our people homeless. We're going to help our people out. But unfortunately, bringing it back to us in the Black community, which is, is addressed in this book and it's been addressed forever, we have an ego problem in our community. I don't want to see anybody come live with me. Shoot, I need my. So we have this big monstrosity of houses, but yeah, we won't bring in somebody to help us lighten the burden of the mortgage or the rent, and we won't help our fellow man. We got egos. I don't want nobody coming in here living with us, and so that's partially why we're most in homelessness. Because we won't help each other out. We are very individualistic when it comes to the things that we do. But the Asian community, that's why they have the most wealth, because they know how to maximize everything that they have. In the book, it's called The Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth. I'm going to keep saying it because even to this day, that book on YouTube only has 1,000 views. And I'm like, why does it only have 1,000 views? Why aren't y'all reading this book, right? Or all the other books? Because the solutions are there, but we don't want it. So there's nothing new under the sun. When you watch ants, what do? Ants work to freaking together. They're lifting the heaviest thing on earth to us, right? We're looking at these ants like, damn, how are they doing it? They are working together. We don't work together. We are that one ant that wants to drag a whole chicken bone into our own little hole instead of saying, hey, man, help me. And then you gonna eat off this chicken bone too, and everybody else that help. We don't do that. We keep asking, what is the solution? We've been told since forever what the solution is. The same solution that our ancestors did to build Black Wall Street and all of the other Black towns and cities and entities that we had. They work together. We keep saying, oh, we need to separate. Yes, we do. Because when we were separated, we worked together, but now we are integrated, and we keep asking, why don't the white man treat us equally? Why can't we get this? Because he don't have to, because we ain't making them. But the minute we work together, then we'll see a little bit more traction. But until then, we're going to be the most homeless. We're going to be the most unhealthy, because goddamn well you ain't supposed to be eating all that fried chicken and chitlins and all that other stuff. But we're going to eat it anyway. Talks about it in How to Eat to Live, volumes 1 and 2, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how to eat and be healthier. We won't do that. So we're the most unhealthy. We're the the best at the worst of everything, if that makes any sense, right? So we know what to do. We just won't do it. And so to Michael's point, he's like, y'all do a lot of talking. We do. We and I'll be the person. We do a lot of talking, but we don't put boots to the ground. It's not that hard. I promise you, it's not. So if you're facing homelessness, go to somebody you know and say, hey, I know you probably could use, a couple extra dollars out. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of people are working. They are the working poor in the truest sense of the form. There's a lot of people who live in their cars and they walk to high-rise buildings every day and they have a good job. They just can't afford to take care of themselves. So if you know somebody who's facing homelessness, say that these are my folks, whether we related or not, because there's a lot of us who won't even let family members move in. And I get it. Some of our family members, I'm not even talking about Black people, are problematic. But as he said in the Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth, can you put your differences aside to build, to buy? He says, also, we don't rely on banks. He said, we keep our money in hidden places in the walls of our houses. That way, if somebody needs a loan, how much you need? Oh, I need $10,000. Okay, here you go. Now go do what you got to do and then bring it back so we can help somebody else. That's what we got to get on that page. And so,
yeah, and unfortunately, when we have somebody in the community that does do that, y'all don't pay me back, and I got to take it to court. But to make a long story short,
let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
So the point that I'm making is the solution has always been there. The solution has always been there. It's not rocket science. It's either we will or we won't. But either way, ain't nobody coming to save us. What did Farrakhan say a long time ago? SOS, save yourself. Okay, that's the secret. So I know there's a lot of comments, but I'm gonna start at the bottom.
Yeah, and I just want to add this too. If you think about it in the context of where you're at, okay, I'm in California, one of the most expensive states to live in. Demetra will attest to this. In San Francisco alone, when her daughter was going to college, she was spending $1,500 just to rent a room. Then you've got people that make six figures in San Francisco that couldn't even afford an apartment. They were living in their cars. So if these are the people that have the money, what is a person who makes average pay? And I'm just going to say $40,000 because that is the average of what a Black man makes in America. What is $40,000 going to do in the United States by myself trying to find rent? That's my rent for the year. How am I going to live? And so now you've got landlords who want their money. They're behind the scene. They can get more for their buck. The state is giving out Section 8 vouchers to everybody who wants them, but nobody's taking them. And we are seeing a mass reality of a wake up of our people being thrown out in the streets to where we are now a permanent underclass. We've got to change the narrative, and people are not talking about it. We got to start talking about it.
Absolutely. So I'm just reading y'all comments. I would like to catch up, but I won't. But I see y'all was pretty much mirroring what I was saying. But I mean, the solution is simple. We just got to deprogram our minds. We are very individualistic in everything that we do. We are, well, I got mine. I don't know about you, but it's like we should be saying, okay, I got mine and I'm going to help you get yours so you can help somebody else get theirs. And then we could just continue to help our people because true indeed, we do see about $1.3 trillion in our community every year. And we give most of that away. And then we talk about, I don't know what I'm going to do. We the most in homelessness. It's like, well, stop giving all that money away. We should be looking to buy. Maybe you can't afford to buy your own house. But as he said in the Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth, I'm going to keep saying that so that maybe somebody will go watch it before they take it down on YouTube. Because when you listen to it, you're going to be like, oh, this is still up here. They say, all right, if you don't have the money, they say they get with a couple other Asians and they pull their money together, have a down payment, and we all going to live up in this house until we can afford to buy more houses. And that's what they do. They said, we're not going to be renting. We're going to be the landlord. So we'll never, ever have to worry about being homeless. We'll always have a place to live. And they also said how they don't throw their people out. It says everybody else, it says in the West, talking about the United States, it's customary to put your children in daycare. Says that's a whole bunch of money. And of course, the book is dated and he gave a number. It's a whole bunch of money. You putting your kids in daycare. And then he says, of course, y'all don't like your mama and your daddy. So you put them in nursing homes. You know, y'all, everybody have their own house paying all these separate bills. He says, but in our community, and we used to do that too in Africa, and they still do. We bring the elders into the house because we know the elders, for one, can watch the children if they need to, but also they are the wisdom. They are the griots, if you will, the storytellers, where they can keep the knowledge and the stories and the wisdom going, and they feed that to the children, and so that they are not oblivious as to who they are. But we don't do that. We house our people out and spend all this money just to say, I'm living by myself. I enjoy being able to walk around my house naked and nobody in there. Put a robe on and bring some people in so we can help each other, right? If that's what we need to do, right? I don't know, but y'all tell me. Let me get to some of these comments here. And let's see, where did I leave off? Let me get on somebody who has not been on here. Diablo, you says, he says, no, nobody is coming to save us. I feel like we're on our own. Yeah, everybody else is on their own as well, right? Now, of course, they have other things that help them. But when I've always been taught, when you help yourself, it's easier for everybody to help you. My dad always says, I ain't going to help you do nothing. You need to be doing something. Like, why would you help somebody that's doing nothing? You see somebody helping themselves, like, okay, let me help them. Because eventually we see, and I'm thinking of the government, we see Black people organizing, they helping themselves. Okay, eventually they're going to wake up. And then they're going to end up voting us out and, you know, organizing and weaponizing their money against us. So let's help them out. Let's act like we're a team player, right? But right now they ain't got to do that, because why? You know, who's going to make them? Same question I asked is, who going to make Jerry Jones do anything? What we going to do, you know? And let's see here. Kimberly says, unfortunately, collectively, Black Americans' monetary power and unity left when we were integrated. Yep, we thought white was better. And Damon says, it's a 2.5-hour audiobook. Went over and saved it to my YouTube channel. Yes, please. Tell me what you think. Like, I've been talking about this book for a long time. Actually, somebody turned me on to the book. Brother O, he gave me the audiobook. But then I looked and I said, oh, it's on YouTube. And I'm like, that's on YouTube? When y'all listen to it, y'all gonna see why I say that. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge, but he's saying the same thing that's been said to us in this book. Marcus Garvey was saying, but he's saying it from an Asian point of view. He's basically saying, listen up, Negroes. Y'all want the game? I'm gonna give it to you. That's pretty much what he's saying. So I don't know. Y'all tell me. And Gilberti said the numbers are a disadvantage. Okay. And Darshani says collectivism. When we come together, that is the trouble for the beast. Yes. And Sean says, all the top economists around the world are saying Europe and the United States is about to have a major recession. So it's about to be a lot of homeless from every ethnic group. Yeah, but mostly us, right? But you know who ain't going to be the most homeless? The Asians and everybody else who got that money. They're like, we were storing up for the winter. We don't know about y'all, you know? And Robin says, exactly, save yourself or we'll get dragged down. Yeah, even further. And Wanda, you say true. And the Oracle of Delphi says the system is not going to support Black economic development. It never has. Mutual aid helps, but it's not a solution. It helps, right? But there's surely stuff we should be doing, right? Like if you have a house, who's going to stop you from moving somebody in there to help them get a leg up and help yourself? Who's going to stop them from doing that? I mean, especially if we're talking about homelessness, there's things that we can do. I know people, a lot of people in California that have to live together. They cannot afford to live on their own. It's just the facts. Let's see here. Burger and Fries, how you doing? He says, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. So you know, it's even more expensive to live there than it is in Los Angeles. So you know what's up. And Rashad says, you don't have to read my, okay, I don't have to read your comments. Okay.
No, but I told him I've been reading him. He's been dropping some dimes in there.
Got you. All right. So, and then let's see. Oh, Gilberto, what you were saying was the numbers. One disadvantage is that we can't work together. We always trying to outdo each other. Yeah, we need to stop that jealousy and stuff, right?
But here's my point. Forget the numbers. Okay, let's say there's only 20% of Black people on assistance. That's not the point. The point is we are seeing Black people disproportionately homeless in the United States, and we're not doing anything about it. We're seeing single mother families being thrown out in the streets, and we're not doing anything about it. That's the point. Forget that. We're also into this distraction stuff. Look at the meat and potatoes of what I'm saying. That is what we need to talk about. There's always somebody in here that's going to throw a distraction and forget all that. What is my point? My point is we have young families that are being evicted in the streets now that the moratorium is up under a Democratic president, mind you, and they're being evicted at record rates. What are we going to do about it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's up to us to save ourselves. You know, I mean, it's just like there's no more excuses at this point. And Marcus, thank you. If you guys are on Facebook and you are watching this, please click on the link, and I would love to read your comment. And let's see, I want to go back to this. Otis says, remember in 1993, Black people made a mad rush working FedEx in Chicago. And then other races complained that the company hired too many Blacks that got jobs they didn't until pay wages went up to $12 an hour. Yes, indeed. And we also know that those type of jobs, the warehouse jobs, especially back in the day, like in Detroit, that's where a lot of Black people work. And I would say a lot of Black people still work there, although a lot of other races like Hispanics work there. But yeah, when the money goes up, it's like, now why they working there? And so I can only imagine what happened with that. And Thunder, you're absolutely right. So society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know shall never sit in. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to go back to what Otis has said. If you thought that was crazy, Otis, did you hear in New York where you've got the DoorDash drivers, mostly of Latin descent, they want $31 an hour. They are getting together and demanding $31 an hour to deliver food and using the black fist symbol as their mantra. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And Diabli, you say, I'm the oldest of 7. All of us, it says, all of all of us, only 2 of us own, and we range 39 to 25. And I guess those are good numbers. But let me ask you this: how are the rest doing? Are they doing okay? Are y'all living together? Or because I think you said you live in California, if I'm not mistaken, right? So how is that working? And let's see here. And Amoni says, I would love to hear your take on, Demetra, how your beloved Texas is the cause of the courts have it tied up on student loan forgiveness due to racist white supremacies out Texas jealous of others getting it. But you see, you got to throw Joe Biden in there as well. Joe Biden, there's stuff he could do. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he was ever planning on doing it because they had to make him do that little bit, right? They forced him to do that. And as I said, when the elections was going on, it's like, yeah, sure, this is what we're going to do. But I think they already knew there was going to be some roadblocks. So, I mean, I think they're all complicit in that. But until then, do what you got to do to pay the bills, I guess. A Notorious Hebrew, how you doing? He says, exactly. My son is still at home. He has saved more than $50,000. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. We tend to put our children out of the house, get out. Put them out before they are ready to leave. And I'm one of those people, I don't believe in putting the children out the house. Now, as my dad said, if you ain't doing nothing, going to school, working, trying to better yourself, then yeah, you might need to make it do what it do, because you ain't going to lay up on me for free and do nothing. As I remember, the old folks used to be like, shoot, when I leave up out of here, you leaving up out of here too. Now it's a little bit abusive, but I get it. Because they're like, you're not going to suck up this good old electricity while I'm out there busting a hustle and you laid up in here doing nothing. So, my philosophy is you got to be doing something, but I'm not a proponent of putting children once they turn 18 or whatever out of the house just because you 18, because it's like you put the kids out the house. You didn't teach them nothing, first of all, and you put them out there to expect them to survive. And then when they don't, you're like, well, I don't know what to tell you. That I think that's very cruel, because I would say we are one of the races that do it the most to our children. Even though, Michael, I saw you say that you were put out of the house, or kicked out of the house by your dad. So do tell, what was that about, if you don't mind me asking?
Yep. I was put out. I was put out to go out there and spread my wings and fly. And if I couldn't make it, I come back, gather myself, then I go back into the world again.
And the Oracle of Delphi says, but Asians in America are not working in minimum wage jobs after one generation in America. But that's the point, though, that they did it right. We work these minimum wage jobs, and then we create our own jobs and our own places to live, and we ain't got to do that. They did it right. So it's like, what are they doing that we could be doing at least some of? So to your point, they did it right. Like, why is it that there's generations of people working on minimum wage or living on Section 8 and all of that? Why? It's supposed to be one generation, and then you teach the other generation, okay, listen up. And that's another thing he said in the book. He says, We raise our children that way. We don't raise our children to give them a choice and they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. They say too bad. You're working in the family business. You're going to do this, you're going to do that because we need you. He says, Americans, he says, the West, y'all are one of the only people that says, oh, go off, children. Go live your life. I don't want nothing from you. He says, but in our race, we say, no, we expect something from you. We expect that you go learn what it is to learn and you come back and you help everybody else. And they say even down to the point where they select their children's mates. He says, y'all allow y'all children to marry off into this, that, and the other and ruin the family dynamics. He says, but not us. We are very instrumental in who our people date. They have, he says, because they're also thinking about, okay, if our daughter or son marries this person, how are they also going to be able to come into the fold and keep our legacy going? We don't want some degenerate, from somewhere that ain't got no home training and all that coming into the family and ruining what we got. So they're very strategic in what they do. So that's probably why they don't have generations of working minimum wage. You know what I mean? So let's see here. Let me go on down, scroll down here. I don't know why I do that. That's why I do when I read. Somebody says, I just saved it on my YouTube. Yes, keep saving. Go watch that. I'm telling y'all going to be like, there's a lot of knowledge here. And Michael says, I have a solution for Black America. 1, cash reparations for ADOS, cash benefits for everybody and Black business, Medicare for all. It says tuition, debt-free public higher education and vocational training. I think you meant to say, okay, got you. And let's see here. Brother Samuel says, yes, since 1965, message to the Black man in America. I thought I sent it earlier. Okay, so that's what I thought. Thank you so much. And Pamela says, so true. Regardless, our people are being thrown in the streets and we need to find solutions quick. Yeah, it's up to us to save us. Otis says, Jason Black talked about that. Okay. And Robbie says $31 an hour, ludicrous. I don't know what happened to Donovan, but that's what it really should be. It should be about $25 to $32 an hour to keep up with the cost of living. And even that is like, okay, now I can breathe without really having to work a whole bunch of jobs. But that $31 an hour is not an unreasonable amount of money, especially if you live in San Francisco or in Los Angeles. And Pamela says, I know the hell they asking for $31 an hour. Well, guess they'll be jobless. So y'all talking about the Hispanics. I think that's what it is, the immigrants. Yeah, but everybody should be asking for that. And everybody really should be getting it. I mean, if you ask me. And Diablo says, yes, we live in different states, 4 in California, 1 Nevada, 1 Washington State, and 1 Texas. So you sound like my siblings and I, we're in different states as well. And let's see here. True says, how is it not price gouging in California and New York? Oh, it is. That a lot of places, I'm not sure about New York, but in California, they don't really have a lot of rent control laws. They have some, but nothing really to make a difference, right? I mean, they can go up on your rent however much they want. I think, but it's crazy. It's greed is what it is. But eventually they're going to price themselves out of the rental market because nobody's going to be able to afford, right? And let's see here. I don't know what happened to Donovan. There you go. There he is. Let's see here. Thundy says it becomes a problem when the safety net becomes a hammock. Okay, I like that.
That's good. Very good.
I like that. And only Pamela of the way he says, Demetra K, we could be doing a lot of what they're doing. Yeah, so I'm telling you, if y'all listen to it, y'all gonna be like, this ain't hard to do. We just need to do it, right? But the same thing that's been talked about for so many years, like honestly, right? Brother Sammy says, Donovan's out of sight, out of mind. I don't think we know about the homeless numbers unless the oppressor pushes it. And speaking of distractions, do you think the switch to the ridiculous killing of our beautiful Black sister in Mexico is being used as a distraction? And if so, from what? Yeah, I mean, it could definitely could be. I always think that we're being distracted from the bigger picture. You know, there's a lot of stuff. We only see what they want us to see, but what are they hiding? You know what I mean? What are we being distracted from? I think that should always be the question. You know, you're talking about Shanquella Robinson, and I guess they're still trying to get to the bottom of that and what happened to her, which is a terrible case. Burger and Fries says, my dad gave me a brochure for the Navy, a U.S. Navy, and called the recruiter and went to boot camp after high school. Got you. Donovan, you're freezing up a little bit, but I can hear you, though. And Wandy says, I got my own place working for $3.35 an hour, and I made it. Yeah, I remember the $3.35 an hour. I was in high school working at McDonald's, and I don't even know if it was that. It might not even been that. Let's see. Michael says, I was put out of my house because my dad and I had a big argument because I was so focused about the stock market and not understanding that everybody has the same capacity. Donovan, I am still working. So, yeah, and that's what he said in the book, too. He says in Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth, they, know about the market, but they're like, nah, we know about real estate and owning and building businesses and things like that. And so I don't know if that has something to do, Michael, with your situation, but that, it's horrible that anybody gets, kicked out of the house. And Dorothy, how you doing? Let's see here. Otis says, I remember in 1991, some mothers told their daughters that if forced the daughters to choose the drug dealer, have babies to get public aid and money and food stamps at the time. Yeah, that was going on. Not a very wise thing to tell your daughter, because that has a very horrible inroad. I know somebody in my family, a cousin of mine, who gave the feds 14 years for being involved with a drug dealer. Got caught holding the bag, and she went hand in hand upstate with him and gave him 14 years, and she was just in the car. So, we need to be careful. And let's see here. The Oracle of Delphi says, because we are pinned to the bottom by design, even with formal education, the descendants of slavery are less economically mobile than other ethnicities. It's not what that we are lazy or lack industry. No, I totally agree. It's not totally that. We don't want to say, are we all lazy? I mean, hell, Black people are some of the hardest working people in the country. I think the unfortunate part is that we work harder instead of working smarter. Working smarter would mean let's get together and pool our resources. Working harder is, well, I'm going to go to work and work 80 hours a week to survive, when I could just get together with, other Black people and say, okay, let's work smarter instead of working harder. Do you agree with that? And Sherry says, what's the name of the book? So this book here is The Message to the Black Man in America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There's a Black agenda in here, and it tells us about doing for self and all of that. Also, the other book on YouTube is called The Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. The Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth. Check it out before they take it down. That's all I'm going to say. And Sudi Bandy says, in the Asian culture, family come first. So if you do something to shun the family, they disown you. I remember growing up, our family, what you did, it reflected not just yourself, but your family. Yeah, that's how I used to be in our community as well, right? You ain't going to shame our family, right? And Tawana says $25 is what the minimum wage is supposed to be. The minimum wage is supposed to reflect the economy. Absolutely. So $25 at a minimum is what it's supposed to be. And Original 74, how you doing? He says, how many other secrets Black people don't know about the companies they work for? Yeah, that's true. A lot, I would imagine. Only Pamela's Way says, Demetra K, absolutely. Everyone should be getting a living wage. Yep. Nobody should have to work 2 and 3, 40 jobs just to make ends meet. And Sudi Bandy says, we need to get back to this way of thinking. Absolutely. Do not bring shame on the family. And Burger and Fries says, I make $62 an hour and it's peanuts. And that's depending on where you live. It really may be, right? Okay, let me skip down to Notorious Hebrew. He says, no rent control in California. Average rent is $3,800. And that's the truth. I know somebody who just rented a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo for $3,800 in Irvine. So I don't know. Maybe that's good still. I don't know. And Kiki says, seems like the wage goes up. The cost of living goes up as well. So that's why many are struggling too. There's never a balance. I honestly don't think they want the average American living comfortably. No, always want you on a hamster wheel to keep on trucking. And Donovan, yeah, you're frozen up a little bit. I don't know if it's your connection. And Darshan says, us copper-colored people need to create our own jobs and community. Yep, like yesterday. And so, okay, so I was just reading a comment that was a duplicate. And Moni says, in the Black community, we can help one another by exposing these low-life landlords, but will not. I'll find it very bizarre. News stories can show, but yet many, you won't say nothing about YouTube, really. Well, as I said to you before, Moni, some things I cannot show because on any channel, I don't want to end up getting demonetized. And some of the stuff you sent me was kind of brutal, if you will. But I did talk about it, but the best way to not be under the influence, if you will, or whatever of a landlord is to become the landlord. Try to anyway, right? I don't know. And Only Pamela's Way says, Demetra, is there something about hidden secrets of Oriental Wealth that we shouldn't know because we're being stirred away from it? I believe it's a lot of stuff that we heard before, but he's basically saying we all have the same problems and we all have the same enemy. I ain't gonna say who it is on here. We all have the same enemies. We just work to not be as affected by them as everyone else. He said we organize, we work together. But it gives a lot of other strategies too. It's a really easy listen, a really easy book to read. So I would say there's some things in there that would be eye-opening to a lot of people. And Bahama man, how you doing? He says, hell no. So you're talking about him being invited to the cookout, Jerry Jones. Okay. And Gina, what's going on with you? He says, hey girl, I remember working at McDonald's, laugh out loud. Yeah, we used to work at McDonald's together. In high school. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I think it was like $3 or something like that an hour. Yeah, I don't know. It's your connection, Donovan. I can hear you though. You're just a little frozen.
Yeah, no, it's not the connection. The internet. It's fine.
All right, y'all. Is it me or is it Donovan? Y'all, is it because I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe it's Maybelline. Let's see here. Notorious Hebrew says anyone near Van Nuys can can. I think he meant near Van Nuys, California. Anheuser-Busch is hiring for line work. $30 to start. Oh wow! I mean that's pretty good. I actually see that when I would drive in California, depending on where off the freeway. So that's pretty good. And Michael says, Demetra, my dad was a goddamn Trump supporter and did not understand the reality of today's economy impacting disabled people, working people, and greed. So you and your father differ greatly on a lot of things from what I could see. And the Prince of Paraphernalia, aka the POP, how you doing? All right. And Kimberly says the South cost of living is not that cheap anymore because a lot of folks over there past 20 years have moved to South to catch a break. Now the mortgage and rent in South is higher. Yep, I'm in the South from California, and it is going up. It's almost as bad as California. It's like these landlords, they're, as Robert Kiyosaki said, they're going to end up screwing themselves over in the long run. And so Notorious Hebrew says, thank you. Our people need that. Yes, indeed. The older says, I meant Black women in 1991 telling their daughters to get out at 18. Yeah. Why would you put your daughter out at 18? What do you think she's gonna do, right? She's gonna go and do the road, the path to least resistance. And that's probably is some dude that's slinging drugs. And like, why would you do that to your child? You know, it's crazy. I need some me time. It's all about me now. All right. Well, did you teach her something? Did you teach your kids how to survive, or would you just shucking and jiving until they turned 18? Like, what was you doing? And let me skip down a little bit here. Darshan says rent high in Atlanta and New Jersey. And Damien says, question, who sets the cost of living numbers? Well, I mean, could be the feds. They set the interest rates. It actually is going up because they're trying to cool down the economy, although it doesn't seem like it's working. Seems like it's getting worse. Interest rates for a house is what, 7%? 7%. That's quite a bit. I mean, that's almost triple from where it was before, right? So that's quite a bit. And Kiki says, is Donovan still in the DR? What's going on over there pertaining to Haitian citizens? No, he's in the United States. Donovan, can you hear? So the DR, they are, from what they're saying, the United States issued a warning. I did a story, it's not produced yet for the African Diaspora News Channel, but they issued a warning to dark-skinned Americans saying, hey, you might want to be cautious going over there because they in the DR are treating dark-skinned people thinking that they're Haitians, kind of crazy, detaining them and all that. And listen, I'm a witness because that's what they tried to do to me when I was over there. They tried to detain a sister. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And Brother Dine says, now I'm on my keyboard. First off, I live in San Francisco. $30 an hour won't do shit for me with one bedroom rent at $42,000. I think he meant, is that a year? Rent controlled and $5,000 in student loan debt annually. Don't talk to me yet. $30 hours is a drop in a bucket in San Francisco. It's crazy. And Sean says, I hate to say this, things are about to get way worse in this country and around the world. United States is going to collapse like Rome. I don't know how our people don't feel what's about to happen. We just that frog in a boiling pot of water. Gilberto says, Demetra, no, his internet is acting up. He was dropped twice and was frozen. Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's Donovan is on your end. You're freezing horribly. So I don't know. Let's see here. Kimberly said Black Americans have been made the permanent underclass. It doesn't look like we'll ever get the metaphorical 40 acres and a mule the way it looks, right? And Diablo, thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for that donation. Said we appreciate you interacting with the chatter. Some channels grow and take subscribers for granted. We really feel a part of the discussion. That's what it's all about, baby. I mean, Donovan and I don't know everything. We learn just as much from y'all as you do us. And I think it's kind of boring. I don't like to watch people's channels either that they just, and they don't read the comments from the comment section. You guys are the third co-host. That's what I like to call y'all. I don't like to watch content like that either. I think it's, I'm gonna mute Donovan's channel. There you go. I think it's rude to do that. So this is what we do here. Whenever we go live, we do include y'all. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And let's see here. Darshan says the great logic Muhammad, he was the messenger. You better believe it. Yes, indeed. All right. So who else has something to say? I'm gonna try to catch up rather. And Notorious Hebrew says, Bush ain't in San Francisco. Forgive me. I don't know what that means. And that's always a shock to me. Like, big old head. And Gilberto says, not only were Black men or Black women kicked out at 18, we had no financial literacy. No financial literacy because it has not been taught in school. Yeah, and the thing is too, y'all know how I feel. We should teach our children those things at home. The school system they're not really gonna teach our children much, and that's anybody's children, right? But so I have a daughter, she'll be almost 30 next month. She'll be 30 next month. I never sent her to school expecting them to teach her anything. Especially stuff I should be teaching her at home, right? So when it came to money and knowledge herself, I taught her that. I tell y'all the story all the time. My daughter, she was the only one in class that painted her leprechaun black. It wasn't pink, it was black. It was a brown, I should say, color brown like her. That's because I taught her that at 5 years old. Like, don't be going around, emulating something that don't look like. That's much better, Donovan. Much better.
Well, the funny thing is, it's the same internet. I don't know what it is.
Brother, they're hating on you over there. I don't know.
No, I think it's the Women Coalition that didn't like what I was trying to say, even though I'm trying to save them.
I'm gonna put this up here, and I'm gonna just let this ride out for just a minute. She said, "Just say it was me because ain't no way it's Donovan's internet. It's got to be yours."
No, I mean, I mean, like I said, you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. Like I said, I have a problem with we are not talking about all of these people that are homeless, and I'm looking at what's going on, and it just seems to me like we lost a lot of wealth. We lost a third of our wealth in 2007, 2008. We never recovered from that. And now they're coming for the rest of it. And now these families are being evicted, and none of our leaders are saying anything. And everybody wants to feel good about, themselves. But the reality of the matter is we got a problem. Houston, there's a problem here.
I totally agree. Hello, Freddie B. How you doing? And son like crazy. She talking about it's the ancestors. The ancestors, and that's your mute button. It was like he said enough.
I know. Sometimes you want to keep the people asleep. Sometimes you got to silence the messenger.
I can dig it. And Otis, you say, I have a question for parents on here. Why do you let your kids go to school? I think that's a fair question. Well, too, especially in the United States, you ain't got no choice. Unless you homeschooling your children, they have to go to school. And, that's has a lot to do with them getting money for your children going to school. So a lot of times they want your kid long enough for you to check present. And after that, it's like, we don't care much, but they get a stipend from your children coming to school. But I agree. I mean, if homeschooling is an option, I think we should do that, or perhaps find schools that our children can go to. In the Nation of Islam, they have their own school. They teach their own children knowledge of self and things that we should know. And so I think that's a good question. But I think the other side of it is, the government is like, you can't just not have your kids in school, So, Don says it was Michael Pan. It got better once I got rid of him. He was jacking up the internet with my. No, don't. You got to unblock Michael. Michael was one of our regulars here. You got to unblock him. Unblock Michael. He's pretty cool. But thank you, Don, for doing your job. You own it, brother. But I say unblock Michael. He actually gives a lot of pretty good information. Y'all saying my screen is pausing as well? Oof. I don't know. Oh, so y'all explain the picture in the background here. This picture here is Villa Lararo. Okay, the Villa Lararo. That is Madam C.J. Walker's. It was anyway her estate. You guys know Madam C.J. Walker. She came up with the hair care line and how Black women could do our hair better and different things like that. But she also was one of the originators of the multi-level marketing plans, in that she brought a lot of, because she was a washerwoman, that's what they called her. And called women back then, they washed the laundry of white women or white people. So she was a laundress, if you will. And so she brought a lot of Black people out of being a domestic, and taught women and men work for a company as well, that you can work for yourself. Go sell this product. And they did. They, sold it to a lot of our people, and were able to help a lot of Black people become better off and not depend on washing the drawers of white people. So with the money that she made, she's the first Black woman millionaire, so they say, in America. But with that she was able to buy this estate. And those people, it's kind of hard to see now, it's an old picture, but those people on the steps were rather the people that work for her company. And there's a lot of them on those steps. And that wasn't even all of the people that work for her. And so I love that background, because it basically says that if she can do it, being the daughter of a slave, because that's what she was, being a domestic, washing the underwear of white folks, and she was able to build an empire and help her people, what's our excuse, right? So I love the story of Madam C.J. Walker, and I like that picture because it really is amazing. She, by all accounts, was not supposed to do that, and she did. So that's what that picture is about. So let's see here. Sunlight says, who blocked Michael? Our moderator, Donnie. Don be on it. But yeah, unblock Michael. He's actually he's pretty cool. Let's see. Tori the Hebrew, he says, Yaks Institute is a Black school online in Brooklyn. Okay, let me put that up there. I've never heard of it, but that is good to know. And Diablo says, I work for Union Pacific Railroad, and when I got here 5 years ago, there was less than 5% Blacks at our location. I'm proud to say our specific rail yard is around 20% Black, so brothers want stability. I know that's right. That's quite a big jump from 5 to 20%. And there's a lot of money in that industry, a lot of money. So, yeah. Not only do they want stability, but that will help, Black people, the more money we make, right? Especially if we are pulling it back into our community. Brother Arson, how are you doing? You say, hey, been a long time. How are you too? I'm doing fabulous. She says, came in super late as usual. There's much I can say on here, but nothing you don't. Day exchanges. Yes, indeed, brother. Yes, it has been a long time in the Oracle at Delphi. And say we didn't just lose a third of our wealth. The Obama administration chose to save Wall Street over Main Street. The real problem and the solutions are political. We must reorganize and mobilize. I totally agree with you. Donovan has dropped off. I don't know if he'll come back by the time we get out of here, but one can hope. Rashad says, with that being said, going to college doesn't necessarily guarantee you will get a job. That's a whole other story. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that got degrees and they ain't working in that field. A lot of them are working at Amazon. Because it's like I couldn't, make enough money in the degree that I got. So, yeah, let me go get a warehouse job. I know they're always hiring there. So you're absolutely right. Notorious Hebrew, says she left that house to NAACP. They lost it. Yeah, they don't have it anymore. But, yeah, there's a lot of backstory as to what happened to, the house and the wealth and the company and all of that. So sad indeed. And Gilberta says she was the first Black millionaire. Okay, got you. And yes, oh yeah, Donovan is gone again. I don't know what's going on here. And Brother Don says if you people truly understood the financial situation as it relates to you and your family and how they package up your life and financial instruments, 15-year prison sentence, $7.4 billion gain. Yes, that is a lot. And Brother Samuel say, wow. So Donovan is in the chat now. He says he gave up on his internet. You have the Obama internet. What's really going on? I'm just kidding. I trust me. I know all about the internet issues. And Moni says we stood together in many ways here in Michigan because of that abortion issue. It made it where the first time in 40 years we're going to have an all Democratic House, which is a good thing. Okay. And Brother Don says, I blocked him because he disrespected Donovan as a strong Black American man. I didn't appreciate it. Okay, got it. I didn't see that. But can you give him one more chance? I didn't see it. Am I frozen, y'all? If I'm frozen, please forgive me. But hopefully you can hear me. Donovan says, we need to stop electing these ineffective politicians. Aunt Maxine came out from under her rock. Oh, did she? Got you. And Darshan says invention is getting worse in South and Northwest Coast, Midwest. Okay. And Diablo says you have to select the right major: hard science, medical science, healthcare, and blue or collar schools. You're absolutely right. And that's kind of going back with the Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. He talked about that. He says, yeah, those degrees in psychology and, philosophy and all those other things, they're cute. However, we still need y'all to come back and do the manual labor type stuff. We need mechanics, we need laundromats, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we just went away from that, right? And how's that worked out for us? So you're absolutely right. And the medical field is never going to go away, right? Because people always be sick. In science, and what's the other one? Statistics. That's another one. Math, anything dealing with math, you'll make some money. And Dorothy says, I saw a video of Obama giving a speech in Flint, Michigan. He mocked the people and asked for a glass of drinking water and basically told them they did not have a water problem. Yeah, but it's like, did we really think he drank that dirty water? Probably not, right? But I saw that too. And Kiki says, I homeschool now from K through my kid went to a school through our church where 99% of the people looked like him. He had strong Black male figures and teachers in that school who cared about his progress. I just didn't think he'd get that in public school for high school. So I opted to homeschool. Now it works for us. Yes, that I think that is the optimal choice. And okay, so I'm good now. Okay, good. I'm not frozen. Okay, I'm good. And let's see here. Otis, you say, Dorothy says, I have zero confidence in any of these political people. Absolutely. And Otis says, yes, Amazon was another place Blacks got hired over other races until wages went up and Hispanics got higher positions and pay. Yes, that I know for sure. They have mostly Black people pushing the carts and all that, and they give everybody else the higher up positions to tell everybody what to do. And so nothing's going to change, until we do our own thing. So I totally co-sign on that one. And Only Pamela's Way says, I'm working on some things and I will be sending you a heads up about it. Yes, okay, I will keep an eye out for that. And Moni says, in Michigan, you can ask the agencies that cover your rent when they are abusing you to transfer you to another agency, and they will come up with a lame excuse. While not in my case, in other cases, okay? Notorious Hebrew says they're trying to push Black people out of STEM. Yes, one of my nieces, she's been in STEM for about 4 years or so. It's a lot of work, but it's I can see that she's better off for it. But yeah, if we can get our children into the STEM programs, we should. It's a lot of work, but yes. And let's see here, Michael. Welcome back, Michael. He says, I will retire from joining your show because I understand that some of your people claim that I don't understand the Black struggle, even though I have developed a Black agenda. Michael, I don't think that you. I think you have you see what we are going through. Now I would say to understand is like really to be in that situation. But I will say this, I appreciate help from wherever it comes. And so there's a misunderstanding. Hopefully we can all be friends and we can, learn from each other here. But no harm, no foul, Michael. So you don't have to retire. please continue to comment. Only Pamela's Way says homeschool is the best school. I totally agree with you on that one. I wish I would have done it. If I would have done it, my daughter, like I said, she's 30. Don't tell her I told you. She'll be 30. I was just one of those parents. I was like, no, I'm not going to send my child to the school system and just not have any say. So I'm like, what you teaching? What did you say? What did you say to my child? Oh, wait a minute. So that's the kind of parent I was. I was always involved, whether it was BSU. My daughter, I was a BSU president at my high school. In fact, I started the first BSU, Black Student Union. My daughter was a BSU president when she became a senior. I was very involved. They expected me to bake peach cobblers every time they had the Black History Parade or, all of that. I baked so they could sell it. So I was very involved. Everything my daughter did, whether she was a cheerleader, the dance team, you name it, I was there. I'm like, what are we talking about today? Because I was never going to trust them completely with my child, and I just go home and leave her to the school system. So we should all be that, especially if we have to send our children to the public school system. And Dorothy says, this is why I'm pro-unity. Until we come together and build, we will remain in this nightmare of a situation. I totally agree. Wilbur, he says, I went to college just like a different world, and the Cosby Show told me to laugh out loud. I was a math major and went into education after doing law enforcement and realizing it wasn't for me. So you did a whole host of things. And that's true for a lot of people, right? Hello, Stacy. How are you? He says, good evening, Demetra K and everyone. Yes, indeed. It says, hello from Hawthorne, California. I know that's high as hell to live there, too. Sound like, what you laughing for? And Notorious Hebrew, he says, Yaks, and I'm probably saying it wrong. He says it's Afrocentric and STEM-based. That's good. We need that, right? And Damien says, you're good, Michael Pan, 360 Vision Brother. Yes, indeed. And Otis says, in Chicago, Black laundromats couldn't get bank business loans just like Black auto mechanic shops and went out of business since 1995. My father was a mechanic all his life and still is, had a shop and everything in Los Angeles. And so he was just around, in the 70s and 80s and, 90s. He was able to have a shop. But yeah, we don't see Black mechanics set up. Not we have ones that can come to your house, but like go to their shops. Those are rare. I'm not saying they don't exist, but not like they used to. So yeah, and a lot of that has to do with money. And speaking of group economics, my father's sister, God rest her soul, she gave him the money to start that business. She was like, you don't need to go get a loan. Here's the money. Go start your business, little bro. And that's how he started the business. She gave him the money to do so. So they were practicing group economics. Donovan says, you're the only parent that got banned from the campus. Oh, they tried it. They called the police on me once, but that's a whole different story. Well, actually, they did call the police on me when my daughter's in elementary school. A white girl. I won't say she was a little white girl. She was a big white girl. She kept putting her hands on my daughter. And so I told the teacher, she thought it was, not a big deal. Put her hands on my daughter. Now, it wasn't that my daughter was afraid. I was just like, I ain't sending you to school to fight. So told the principal, and he was like, well, okay, we'll see what we could do. So I went to pick my daughter from school one day, and she got in the car. I could tell something was wrong. I said, what's the problem? And she said, she pointed over to the girl. She was waiting for her parent. Said she kicked me. I said, oh, she did, huh? So I got out the car. I said, come over here. So I went to the girl. I said, did you kick my daughter? And she says, no. And a little white boy to stand behind her said, yes, she did. I saw her. She kicked her. And I told my daughter, I said, okay, great. I said, the next time she put her hands on you, I said, you have my permission to kick her behind. I said, you kick her behind till you can't kick it no more. And then I told my daughter, I said, you understand me? And she said, yeah. So a couple days later, I went to pick my daughter up. School called me and says, oh, before you come pick your daughter up, stop by the office. We want to talk to you. And I kind of figured what was going on, but I didn't know they called the police on me. All right, whatever. So I go in there as a Black police officer. He says, do you know why I'm here? I said, I can suspect. He says, well, they said you threatened a student. I said, do you think if I threatened a student that I'd be here? I said, y'all took my ass to jail. I said, first of all, there was a yard lady standing right there. If I threatened that white girl, I said, y'all would have known about it a lot sooner than you did. I said, but I tell you what, I told my daughter that if she put her hands on her to kick her behind. And he says, well, he's laughing. You can't really do that. I said, sure I can. I said, I can't tell my daughter to defend herself. And I said, why is it that you're here when I told my daughter to defend herself, but you wasn't here when I was telling all these other people that she kept putting her hands on my daughter? He says, oh, well, you got a good point. I said, yeah, but they didn't call you. He said, can you do me a favor? He says, the next time, can you not tell your daughter to do that? I said, I can't guarantee you that. I said, we're going to protect ourselves by any means necessary. So I said, you need to have a talk with them. So we're laughing and stuff. And I said, the other thing I don't appreciate is my daughter's outside of this office thinking that her mama might go to jail behind telling her to defend herself. He goes, yeah, that looks bad. I said, so you need to go have a talk with them. So I left. We laughing as I walked out. And, you know, got my daughter, and they're looking like, what? She ain't going to jail? Not today, baby. So, yeah, they did call the police on me once. One time. So, anyway, let me get down to the bottom of this. And Bahama Man, I hope I said it right. He says, does your PayPal have your face or a black doll? It has my face. Yeah, I think it has my face. It does have my face. But Demetra K is what it is. It has my face, I believe, but it doesn't have the drawing. And let's see here. All right, Robin says, I bet he'll be quiet from now on here on out. And I'm just going down to the bottom because I know I've overstayed my welcome. We could be on here forever. Jessica Jackson, how you doing? He says, all I know is my father left Mississippi at the age of 15 and came to Chicago to get away from segregation. If his black self at that age knew what it was, so did Jerry Jones at 15. There you go. That is a perfect note to leave on. So anyway, yeah, they called the police on me, but I'm one of those people. I go to jail over mine, especially if she's in the right. I don't have a problem with that. Luckily, I didn't go to jail, but you know, it's also important for my daughter to see that I'm not going to allow this white girl. She was a big white girl too. She was big, you know. But I was like, I'm not going to allow these white people to bully you. If your mama got to go to jail over making sure you good, then I'll go to jail. You know, your grandmama and your daddy will take care of you till I get out. But I didn't want my daughter to go to school feeling like she didn't have somebody to stick up for her and also I tell y'all this too. My daughter's father had to go up to the school when she was at because I had moved at another elementary school because a white man called my daughter the N-word. And I went into the office and said, you know, this dude out here called my daughter the N-word. And it's like, oh, that's Uncle. It's a bunch of white ladies in the office. That's Uncle Ron. He's cool. Uncle Ron, he doesn't mean any harm. I said, huh? He called my daughter the N-word. So they was kind of brushing me off. I said, all right, let me bring in the big guns. I brought in her crazy daddy. And do you know he lit that whole office up? He says, if I see Uncle Ron, he says, I'm bum rushing him in front of everybody, kids, teachers. I don't care who's on the yard. I'm bum rushing Uncle Ron. So y'all better get him before I do. Uncle Ron, we didn't see Uncle Ron no more. And those ladies, they must have got the word to Uncle Ron that, yeah, there's a crazy Negro that's crazier than you on this campus. And so we never had any more problem with him. But anyway, I love and appreciate y'all. I wish that I could. Let me get you, Brother Donnie says, that's why they, he says, that's what they do when they meet the right one, the right day, they'll call 12 on your black self. That's all right. They call 12 on me, but you ain't going to be messing with my daughter. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, I didn't really run up on the girl, but I let her know, oh, I know you putting your hands on my daughter, and I want you to know that she's getting permission from her mama to beat your ass the next time you put your hands on her. But guess what? My daughter never had no problems out of here. Never no more. Never. She didn't even speak to my daughter anymore. And they were in the same class. They didn't even speak to her anymore. So problem solved. That's all I wanted. I wanted my daughter to go to school to get what she was supposed to get and not have to fight. So that's all I cared about. So absolutely. So anyway, and DJW, I see you new on here. He says Kentucky was a whole counties on food stamps. Also, there are still farmers receiving tangibles after the Homestead Act. So that's centuries of welfare. Yes, indeed. So you're talking about white people? Absolutely. So anyway, I love and appreciate y'all. I'm going to get out of here so I can drink some water, wipe the sweat off for me and all of that. But Donovan and I will be back with our podcast on Tuesday. It is not live, but we'll also be back here with Walter on Wealth Wednesdays. There's a lot of stuff he wants to talk about. He actually wants to dig off into the hidden secrets of Oriental wealth. So we're going to be talking about that, but we ain't going to talk about it and not talk about this too and other stuff. So anyway, we'll be back live on Wednesdays. We'll see y'all then. Peace. Mwah.